Laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel vPro platform. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
Cleaning your fuel system can make your car run better and improve gas mileage. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts and pick up a bottle of Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner and add it to your tank during your next fill-up. On sale now, buy one, get one free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop by and talk to our professional parts people today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
104.5 The Zone's coverage of the 2021 NFL Draft begins Thursday, April 29th, thanks to Farm Bureau Health Plans. Tune in starting at 6 a.m. with J. Martin Ramon, followed by Buck Reising, Blaine and Mickey, and 3HL as we broadcast live leading up to the first round of the NFL Draft. Then at 6 p.m., Titans Radio takes over the airwaves with live coverage of the 2021 NFL Draft. Hear each selection as we broadcast live with the voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, Coach Dave McGinnis, Brett Bryan, and Amy Wells. For more information, visit 1045thezone.com.
From the Mark Spain Real Estate Studios, this is your Titans NFL Draft Station. WGFX Gallatin, Nashville. Trending now at 1045 The Zone.
It is 10 a.m. Good morning. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Preds scored 2 in the third period to push past the Florida Panthers 4-1 last night. UC Soros with a monster night, 39 saves and a 98 percentage. The Preds still hold the last playoff spot in the Central, fourth place with a 2-point advantage over the Stars, who beat the Hurricanes in overtime last night. They'll do it again tonight back in Bridgestone for a 7 p.m. puck drop against the Panthers. The Braves bounced back to outscore the Cubs last night 8-7, game 2 of the 4-game slate tonight at 6:20. And Tennessee football announced its 2028 season opener today. The Vols will play West Virginia in the Duke's Mayo Classic in Charlotte, North Carolina. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 1045 The Zone.
Rising to the top with A to Z sports quicker than any Titans reporter in town. He's impressed us enough to give him his own show. It's Buck Reising on 1045 The Zone.
You ready, Mace? Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to. Yeah.
Good morning, party people of Nashville, Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, wherever it is that you're streaming 1045 The Zone. We welcome you in on this Titans Tuesday. We have a lot that we are going to discuss. I have so many different things in front of me that I'm going to have to get to, that I want to get to, that I can't wait to get to over the course of this morning. Lucas is here. I am here. We welcome you in for all of the festivities. There's a report out on Christian Barmore that has a lot of people talking about whether he's worth the Titans taking, if he is available, at 22 overall. There is an interesting prospect that really nobody here locally has talked about at all. But two people who are close to the Tennessee Titans have now mocked him to Tennessee at 22. And I'll tell you, it's not a position that you're going to expect, and probably one that you're going to be questioning. I question if this player is even going to be available at 22, but we'll tell you more about that later on. The Preds, they are vibing, much to my chagrin, only because I hate the vibing as a saying. Lucas is very excited. We'll get a Panzica Preds update momentarily. News on the Niners, the quarterback situation, it's all over the place. Trey Lance, Mac Jones. I don't know why it decided to change this week, but it's draft week. It's lying season. So that is where we find ourselves. Ben Fischer, Mike Herndon will join us later in the show as well. And some stuff on Caleb Farley that you're going to want to hear. In the meantime, though, we start in the obvious place. Lucas, do you want to start with what's going on in my house, or do you want to start with your Preds report?
Yes, let's talk about your cats.
Oh, my God. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in on the conversation if you so choose. So it is an incredibly busy week for all of us who work in sports. Lucas is up against it. I'm up against it. J. Martin Ramon, 3HL, Blaine and Mickey, everybody who supports all of us who are on the air. By the way, we heard some of the fantastic, we heard some of what Titans Radio's broadcast is going to sound like on Thursday and Friday night. You guys are not going to want to miss that across the Titans Radio network. Brett Bryan has been hard at work with Coach Mack, Mike Keith, and Amy Wells. It's going to be spectacular. I'm not somebody who says this lightly, right? Because largely I think this kind of stuff is corny when you say something like this. But we were sitting in the production in the Titans radio studio. We left the green room. We went into the Titans radio studio because Rhett was, understandably very, very proud of his work. He says, you guys got to hear this. He played about 2 minutes of what this opening of the broadcast is going to sound like, and I swear to God, I got chills.
Goosebumps.
I got goosebumps. Anyway, so I digress. Everybody's working very hard. It's not a great week for things to go wrong. So naturally, on the first day of draft week, my home life is thrown into chaos because, as most of you know, I have two feline friends who live in my home. One is Leo, the other is Frankie. Leo is a boy, Frankie is a girl. They are brother and sister. Now, these are two alley cats, two North Nashville mountain lions that I've brought into my home since they were about a month old, and they are starting to reach sexual maturity in draft week. Unfortunate. Because last night, and this is something that we put on a poll, do you know what to do with a cat in heat? Because I learned very quickly what a cat in heat looks like, sounds like, more importantly, and had to call my girlfriend frantically yesterday saying, come get Leo, the boy, out of the house so I don't have an incest situation on my hands. It is a disaster at my house right now. And Lucas, you have a cat yourself. You also have a Leo. Your Leo, also a boy. Have you ever heard what a female cat in heat sounds like?
No. Leo chases around a neighbor cat named Luna. That's the female cat he chases around, but he's fixed and everything.
Yeah.
He just hits on her every time he's outside. But that's all I've seen from it. I have not heard what that sounds like.
All right, so my two are scheduled to be fixed not until May 24th, which is terrifying.
How old are they?
They are now between 5 and 6 months. We're not sure because, of course, we found them in a trash can. So now they are between 5 and 6 months, and I'm worried about an incest situation on my hands while trying to tape a podcast, while trying to organize a radio show, while trying to be a part of John Robinson's press conference, while trying to write draft week articles. It's a disaster in my home. A cat in heat, because I woke up at about 3:25 a.m. this morning to a yowling sound because I had to send Leo to my girlfriend's apartment. And Frankie stayed with me. We figured that would be the best situation. Now, Raymond Fischer says something that is wildly sexist, and I will not repeat on the Twitch stream. Do better, Raymond. If you want to hang out with us on 104.5 The Zone TV, and ideally you wouldn't make sexist comments like Raymond just did, but you are allowed to do so, and we will incorporate your appropriate comments into the radio show. Whether that's on Twitch, YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live, we welcome you in across the board. La Fernie on Periscope says, I'm shocked you're a cat person. I'm very much a cat person, not a dog person at all. Dogs are too much in my space, too much in my grill. They need constant attention. I am somebody who I prefer a bubble.
This is a cat show, but it's not an anti-dog show. I won't stand for that.
Okay, that side of the glass is not an anti-dog show. I'm not crazy about dogs, but I digress. So I wake up at 3:25 this morning to Frankie howling, and she had not stopped by the time I left my house at 7:54 a.m. 4 hours. I thought it was like separation anxiety because these two have been together since we brought them in off the street. And I assume, cats get stressed or whatever, and they start picking up themselves. They stop eating, all these things. But largely, after reading what a cat in heat sounds like, this howling that is supposed to continue for the next week of this in draft week, at the least ideal possible time for me to have to deal with this crap. Frankie is howling. So I come out of my bedroom. I sleep on the couch because I'm like, all right, maybe she's lonely. Maybe she's bothered by the fact that her brother is no longer here. It's the first time they've ever been separated, right? So then I lay down on the couch, and apparently what cats do whilst in heat, outside of the yowling and the howling, is like they knead with their front paws.
They make biscuits.
They're at the bakery, right? They're making all the bread. Except Frankie, who has not had a nail trim in quite some time, decides that she wants to make bread on, like, my right thigh, and I have claw marks in the side of my leg that it looks like I got in a knife fight. This is a terrible week for this to happen to me.
Welcome to owning a cat, Buck.
Oh, my God. I'm exhausted, and we are still going to have so much fun. We have so much draft talk to do over the course of today. We have so much to get into with the Titans. All of this stuff moving very fast, but I am doing it on 0% sleep because of these godforsaken cats, one of them in heat. 615-737-1045. Evan has called in, and he wants to give me advice on cats. Good morning, Evan. Welcome in.
What's up, Buck? I'm sorry about your predicament, but
Thank
hey,
you.
this is a chance to learn, to grow, man. And you got to keep the bloodline strong. You got to keep it pure. I mean, you said yourself you got two North Nashville mountain lions. It's not that big a deal at the end of the day, but in all seriousness, man, you know what you're going to have to do to help ease your cat through this transitional phase is you got to give them more attention. At the end of the day, I grew up on a farm, and we had cats running all over the place. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to do what you don't want to do, and that's give her more attention, my man.
Yeah, I will give your phone line is terrible, Evan, but we appreciate the advice. Thank you for calling in. 615-737-1045. I mean, they physically can't get any more attention. It took all of the willpower I had not to just scream at this animal in frustration this morning, walking out of my bedroom at 3:25. I get up at 5 o'clock anyway. There's such a drastic difference between 3:25 in the morning and 5 a.m. when I'm used to getting up. And to have this thing sticking its knife-like claws into my thigh while I'm trying to comfort it was not an ideal situation. I can't possibly give this thing any more attention outside of bringing it into the radio studio with me. And there's a very clear sign on the door where I swipe my key card to get in this place every morning that says no pets allowed. So Frankie can't come with me. No more attention for Frankie. Cats in heat. Do you know what to do with them? Tara says, get the cat spayed or neutered. That's what I'm trying to do. The vet can't get him until the 24th. What do you want? So I'm just supposed to have a situation where I'm constantly on cat incest watch? No, thank you. Christopher P. Lee says, thigh looking like Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction. God. 615-737-1045. All right, so we're going to get into this Barmore report. We're going to tell you who Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated and Peter Schrager of the NFL Network, who I'm currently watching on Good Morning Football right now, they have mocked one particular player to the Titans, not somebody who has been discussed at all by anybody here locally, as far as I can tell, and really a position that hasn't been discussed at all, as far as I know. We'll tell you who that is, but first, a Panzika Preds update. Big win last night, Lucas, over the floor. And not just the Cats in heat. We got two Cats in heat going at it last night in Bridgestone Arena.
And an even bigger win considering the Stars took down the Hurricanes in overtime. The Preds can keep pace here and keep that final playoff spot in the Central, 2-point advantage right now. We're going to be playing that game the rest of the season here. Every game is critical. 6 games are left. It's going to be Preds game, check the Stars score. Preds game, check the Stars score. And I believe the Stars have 1 or 2 games in hand over the Preds. So every game is critical at this point, and I think the Dallas Stars are a betting favorite over the Preds to make the postseason with the way the schedules pan out. So every game is a must-win. This is the situation we're in. They're doing it against the Panthers tonight, and they need another 2 points.
Without question. UC Saros has absolutely saved their season. He was fantastic again last night. He's going to be the primary reason that they make it into the postseason. That's the Panzika Preds update before we go all NFL draft talk and Titans talk for the remainder of today on a Titans Tuesday. It is V-Love tweets in, Frankie belongs to the streets. Yeah, no kidding. These animals, I have done nothing but love and care for them. I'm not a pet person at all. I'm really not even a people person. Like, I'm just not a generally other being. I'm just not a generally, anything else besides me person, which is a terrible thing to say out loud. But it's honest. That's all I can say. 615-737-1045. If you want to call in and talk draft, you can, but everybody seems more interested in calling in to talk about cat advice for me. Rick in Nashville is up next. What's up, Rick? Hello,
Hey,
Rick.
Buck.
What's up?
Hey, buddy, I love your show, by the way, but you know, you can fix this problem real quick.
All right.
I've got a bunch of outdoor cats. Get them some. And I'm being nice. You know what I'm talking about. That'll fix it. And then after that, get them fixed.
So what do you want me to do? You want me to let them out in the streets and let them get work it out, basically?
I'll bring some in, hire somebody.
Cat prostitution is what Rick is suggesting. Thank you, Rick, for the call. Jesus. Unbelievable. This is, you know what? I'm going to do it, and I'll take the fine. This is the place that we find ourselves, Lucas. Draft week, I will take the fine. I will pay the $1. I am okay with it. The crutch phrase, I haven't used it in several weeks since you pointed it out to me. But damn it, this is the place that we find ourselves.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I mean, we're talking about cat incest. This is fair.
Cat incest and cat prostitution, all during NFL Draft Week. More draft conversation coming up next. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
When it comes to Titans football, the Blaine and Mickey podcast is off the charts.
The top of the charts of the charts of the charts. Yep.
Subscribe to Blaine and Mickey wherever you get your podcasts to get the best on Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
Bad internet is bad for business. We've all been there. Lagging video chats, slow downloads.
Oh, come on.
It's just not a good look. Instead, call C Spire Business. Our local experts deliver gigabit speeds backed by thousands of miles of fiber for the fastest, most reliable internet around. Period. No excuses, no apologies. Just fiber-fast internet that works. C Spire Business. See how our fiber solutions can help power your success at cspirebusiness.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. Mortgage interest rates have started to rise. The good news is, at the Home Loan Expert office, we are still locking loans in the 2s. Have you thought about a refinance? Dropping your mortgage rate, saving a couple $100 a month, or pulling out the cash to pay off the credit cards or make those big home improvement projects a reality? How much can you save? Let's find out now. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Why does it seem like every ad you hear on the radio claims to be a family-owned and operated business? This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Let me tell you what family-owned and operated means to me. It means going to work every day, striving to make my business better. It's about my family, really working with me to make sure we handle every customer the way we'd like to be treated. Setting an example for other employees on how to work hard and always be honest. So if you need repairs or replacement on garage doors, please give All Four Seasons a call today at 629-702-6159 or visit us today at fourseasonsgarages.com.
The magic of springtime is upon us.
Spring cleaning is one of the great joys of life.
Spring cleaning is when homes get a new twinkle in their eye,
a new spring in their step,
a new color in their cheeks.
But to make spring cleaning truly magical,
call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We'll be there before you hang up the phone.
1-800-GOT-JUNK. We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
When that shiny truck from 1-800-GOT-JUNK arrives at your house,
it's a sign of a new beginning,
a clean start,
a breath of fresh air.
When your home feels clean and happy,
the people inside feel clean and happy too.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit us at 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Man, how can you afford gas for that big SUV?
I pay less for gas than everyone else. I got the free Get Upside Gas app and get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas.
Hold on. You're getting up to 25 cents off a gallon with the free Get Upside Gas app while I'm paying full price?
You know it. People earned over $1 million last year. You just got to take a picture of your gas receipt and bam, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back.
You don't have to tell me twice. I'm downloading the free Get Upside Gas app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code POWER for a 25 cent a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next tank. Just download the free Get Upside app at the App Store or Google Play and use promo code POWER. Save money on gas on every fill-up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code POWER. That's POWER. Visit GetUpside.com for terms.
Mother's Day is almost here, and it's about spending quality time with the moms we love. Plan ahead and send Mom exactly what she craves this year. The mouth-watering Let's Go Grill package. Visit omahasteaks.com and enter keyword ZONE in the search bar to order today. This package includes our signature butcher-cut filet mignons, apple tartlets, and so much more. Plus, she'll get the tasty bonus of 12 ultra-juicy Omaha Steaks burgers free. That's almost 4 pounds of free burgers. To top it off, you'll also get $20 off your first order. Treat Mom to the best steak of her life, guaranteed. Visit omahasteaks.com, use the code ZONE in the search bar, and give your mom something she'll love. Plus, get 12 free Omaha Steaks burgers and $20 off at checkout on your first order. The Let's Go Grill package is selling out fast, so don't wait and miss out. That's omahasteaks.com, keyword ZONE.
Fleet Cards USA.
Fleet Cards USA, Barb speaking.
Hey, Barb. So I'm a fleet manager for a mid-sized trucking company.
Nice. Trucking is one of our sweet spots.
How can I make sure my drivers stop where they get the best price for fuel instead of choosing places because they have good hot dogs?
You mean truck stops where you get the best pricing?
Bingo.
Easy. With fuel cards, you'll get better negotiated discounts with some of the top merchants nationwide.
Well, sign me up.
Go to fleetcardsusa.com, answer a few questions, and bam, you're good to go.
Fleet Cards USA.
Staples is evolving to Staples Connect, a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com and find what you need to take on today and help you tackle tomorrow. Staples Connect, the working and learning store.
Praise is pouring in the comment section on 104.5 The Zone TV and in my Twitter mentions. It is all about cat protection. I did not realize that we were going to start a firestorm in the middle of draft week. Also, people complimenting my shirt today. I think is this too loud, Lucas? Like, I feel like by the way, Buck Reising here with you until 1 o'clock. Thanks for hanging out. 615-737-1045. I really like this shirt. It's a new one. I did not know how it would look on the camera, but I feel like, it's okay. It's a little flashy, maybe not my normal style, but it's very comfortable.
Looks comfortable.
No commentary?
You getting some compliments on it?
I am getting some compliments on it. Also, one person called me a word that I'm not sure that I can say on the radio or not. So I won't make it a part of my regular vocabulary. But at this point, somebody has commented and says, "Nice shirt, jackass." I said, so thank you very much, Julian Council, my dear friend who works for NASCAR. I will smoke you out in front of your employer. By the way, Julian, don't come after me. I don't know what's more on fire topic today, the Cats or Chris Sims mock draft. This is Mikey Dreamer on Twitch. I haven't seen Chris Sims mock draft, but I heard everybody in here screaming about it before we walked in on J. Martin Ramon. Something that I find very interesting. Jeff Ranger has tweeted us and says you can buy the cat protective underwear for this situation. Well, my underwear is only so long. Like, it can't protect my ankles and my thighs from these knives that Frankie is sticking into me.
He's not talking about underwear for you, man. He's talking about for your cat.
Why would I get the cat underwear? Oh, ew.
I don't think he's talking about for you.
Oh, my God.
Just wear thick pants. I don't know.
What am I had no idea he was talking about the cat. I thought he was talking about me. Unbelievable. 615-737-1045 if you want to get in on all of the cat talk, draft talk, or otherwise. Goodness. What a mess. All right.
It sounds so foolish. Like, wow, that's silly. Your underwear doesn't go down that far, my leg.
I mean, doesn't that make sense? Why I would think that? How the hell am I supposed to know that there's protective underwear for cats? I had no idea that this was a thing. Raymond says they discharge when in heat. Oh my God, I can't. We gotta leave this alone.
Move on.
Let's talk about the draft. God, discharge. Ugh. All right. So over the weekend, we have talked a lot about Christian Barmore, right? The defensive lineman, whether you want to call him an end because he played mostly end at Alabama, whether you want to call him an interior defensive lineman, a tackle or otherwise, you can categorize him how you like. Many players are playing hybrid positions at this point in college football and in the NFL. Christian Barmore is somebody who I have expressed an interest in if he is available to the Titans at 22, right? Going with the best player available concept for the Titans. Not overdrafting based on need. If a corner is not there that you find suitable, not overdrafting a wide receiver based on need, certainly not a tight end, understanding that the shelf, as we call it, the draft shelf, the talent shelf, falls off a cliff after Kyle Pitts probably goes in the top 10, maybe the top 5. We'll see. So over the weekend, I'm doing a little draft research, and then all of a sudden, Marcus Mosher from SB Nation, his tweet pops up on my timeline, and it's a quote from what Bob McGinn wrote in The Athletic. Bob McGinn does position-by-position rankings this time of year across The Athletic, across all positions, and this weekend he did defensive line. So this is a quote from Bob McGinn from scouts that he's talking to, executives in the league, scouts that he's talking to about Christian Barmore. So it starts here. Quote, somebody will probably reach on him, speaking of Barmore, because there aren't any of these guys, a third scout said. I think you're going to take some lumps with him. He doesn't have a ton of experience. He's not a finished product. The best thing he does is rush inside, which is good. Like, I understand, like, we're talking about a very, very young player. We're talking about somebody who's inexperienced, only had 6 starts at Alabama, and was an absolute unholy terror in the national championship game, and rushes the passer well. His run defense could use some work. That comes with time. That comes with coaching. That comes with want to, basically. It's like playing defense in basketball. You got to want to stop the run. You got to want to stick your nose in there and basically get hit by a freight train if you're playing, Derrick Henry or any of these other spectacular running backs that are in the league right now. Derrick Henry, a different experience entirely, but you know what I'm saying. So the scout says best thing he does is rush inside. Bob adds, several teams expressed concerns about Christian Barmore with what they say is his resistance to coaching and structure at Alabama. All right, now this becomes incredibly more problematic. Quote, he's benefiting from the guys who played there, said a fourth scout. He's just a big guy who doesn't make plays. At Bama, they rotate guys like 80-20 or 70-30. This guy, it's like 50-50 when he's in and out of the game, right? So you can tell that by his starts. On a defense for Alabama, we don't talk enough. And maybe they do more in college football circles. We're obviously focusing more on the pro side of things here. But Alabama's defense was not good this year. Lane Kiffin exposed them. Now, Lane Kiffin's going to do that to a couple different teams, but that should never happen to Alabama. And it was a consistent problem for Alabama throughout the course of the year. Now, again, Barmore picked it up, looked like a totally different player from the start of the season to the end of the season, where you find himself, he's on the podium with Reese Davis at the national championship game because he's the best defensive player of the game.
Which is a question mark in and of itself, right? And that was another thing in the Bob McGinn piece. Why did the light go on in the back half of the season? 2 sacks in the first 5 games last year for Christian Barmore, 6 sacks in the last 6 games of the season when the championship run is heating up.
So we put this to a poll on Twitter, right? Because all of the things with this NFL draft for the Titans specifically, the Titans more than any other team, more so than any other team, they are going to face intense scrutiny with what they do in the first round, fairly or unfairly, because of how god-awful the optics were when last they selected in the first round. Isaiah Wilson looms large over everything that the Titans do, even though he's out here starting a rap career, having been jettisoned from not 1 but 2 NFL franchises, lasting 3 days with the Dolphins. And John Robinson spoke a little bit about this in his pre-draft press conference because I want you to keep something in mind, okay? I want you to keep something in mind about what John Robinson says here. He visited with 3HL yesterday after he spoke to us in a pre-draft press conference Zoom. But I want you to keep this in mind about Isaiah Wilson and Christian Barmore. Both young players, both coming into situations in a draft, 2 drafts now, that there is great uncertainty about. Both young players, both inexperienced, although Isaiah Wilson did play a good amount more football than Christian Barmore actually has. The question that we put to you guys on Twitter is, does Isaiah Wilson basically affect how you feel about a potential selection of Christian Barmore? Because what John Robinson said about what he learned in the Isaiah Wilson experience with 3HL yesterday, I thought was really, really informative about how they're approaching this draft process.
Well, I think you learn that you never, that maybe people certainly can change, and the perception of of a player and the information that you have on a player that things change people. And some of that stuff is out of your control. You hope that you've done enough homework and you've turned over enough stones to get to know somebody, but there's only two people that really know that individual, that person himself and the good Lord above. I'm proud of the way that we work to vet players and get information about the player and how they're going to fit our football team and in our community. And I'm always cognizant that some people, they change and they're just that it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. Specifically with that case. And we've talked to a lot of people after that, and they were just as surprised as we were. And we tried to move forward with that and find a couple other rocks to turn over. And I've been more inclusive with the process, with different people in our organization, being on these Zoom calls, having them call different people at the colleges, just to make sure that we, as best as possible, know what we're bringing to Nashville when we select them.
So that was Titans general manager John Robinson with 3HL yesterday. You can hear that full conversation on 3HL's podcast if you choose, wherever it is that you get your podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review. So there's a couple things that stood out to me because he gave an answer there or a response there, probably the most long form that John Robinson has gone into the Isaiah Wilson situation, because I think it's a good way that they position the question. They asked him not about Isaiah, but about what John Robinson personally learned about Isaiah. And I know largely people are done talking about Isaiah Wilson. I completely understand that fatigue. I am so tired of hearing the name Isaiah Wilson outside of having a few laughs listening to his terrible EP yesterday. That's about all it was good for. 615-737-1045. But it does stand to be a very, very pointed example of how you look at a player like Christian Barmore, who, by the way, it's not lost on me that stuff like this is coming out a week before the draft and then being printed on the Monday of the draft week, right? It's something that is starting to gain more traction, and the what do you want to call it? The intentions of the people leaking this information, I will always, 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 always question. I don't believe anything that's coming out of anybody reporting anything around draft prospects right now. It's just too much of a crapshoot. And we'll explain a little better with a little better context about what's going on with the 49ers as to why I'm largely ignoring everything that's I'm keeping tabs on it. I'm not ignoring it. I'm consuming it, and then I'm running it through my own vetting process, which, by the way, I'm not saying that I am the arbiter of vetting draft information. That's not what I'm saying at all. All I am saying is that I am looking at this hugely skeptically and saying, man, I don't know what these people are leaking and why they are leaking it for when so much of it conflicts and there can't be that much that's changed over the last 2 months, even as we understand that people are catching up on their draft evaluation, that they're being more thorough in their draft evaluation, that the process of draft evaluation comes down to, let me find more reasons why I shouldn't draft this guy as opposed to reasons why I should. Very interesting process. Very interesting hiring process, the draft. But with Barmore and with Robinson, right? We have no idea if they're interested in Barmore. We have no idea what John Robinson's board looks like right now. But we do understand that if they are interested in defensive line help, that it drops off a cliff after you talk about guys like Levi Onwuzurike out of Washington, Christian Barmore, who by consensus is the top prospect in this draft. And then if you look further, if you're interested in defensive line help, you look at somebody like Deo Odangbo, who Bob McGinn has ranked as the third best defensive lineman in this class, which I found very, very interesting. What Bob has written is they are comparing him to JPP.
Saying he would be a way better prospect over Barmore if it's not for the injuries he's had in the last year or so.
Well, and I think I've seen a lot of Deo Odangbo, given how many Vanderbilt home games that I've done. And I don't think that's there. But I've seen a small sample size of Christian Barmore. There's just such a higher ceiling for the talent, a higher floor and a higher ceiling for somebody like Barmore as opposed to Odangbo. But I digress. What Robinson is saying there is that what they learned is that they have to include more people, more outside perspectives, so one guy can't essentially fool John and Mike Vrabel. I think Isaiah Wilson got one over on him. And I also think that he got exponentially worse because of the circumstances that everybody had to deal with last season, whether it's being separated from the team, being separated from the coaches, being separated from the locker room because you do 2 stints on COVID. Then you develop outside interests that further fray your interest or your want to be a professional football player, as Robinson has alluded to after they released him. He's got to figure out what he wants to do, talking about Isaiah. But I don't think that should cloud your evaluation of somebody like Christian Barmore, who may just be a little immature. I don't think we're ever, hopefully, I hope we never, ever, ever see a situation like what COVID did, not just, to sports, but societally. I hope never in my lifetime or in yours, listening at home, in your cars, on the app, wherever you are. I just have this reaction to the idea that people are reading this about Barmore a week before the draft and now the week leading into the draft, the Monday leading into the draft, and saying, we can't afford, if you're the Titans, they can't afford to take a risk on somebody that may have maturity issues. Now, the quote, resistance to coaching and structure at Alabama does make you curious. But everyone hates Chris writes in on Twitter, Barmore reminds me of Hainsworth when he was young. Took Albert 5 years to finally turn the light on when he did. Wow. You have to be able to if you trust your staff to be able to handle a situation. Obviously, they were not able to handle Isaiah Wilson, whether that's on them, whether that's on Isaiah, whether it's a mix of both. I imagine it's the latter. But it should not cloud your ability to draft one of these players. If there is if the talent floor is so substantial and you are in a position where he doesn't need to play more than 30 or 40% of the snaps, as we discussed, there is the ability to do something special with a talented player who may just need a little bit of guidance. Who better than to, for lack of a better term, shepherd him through what it is like to be heavily scrutinized during the pre-draft process as a highly touted prospect and as a highly talented player than Jeffrey Simmons. We have not talked at all about the issues that Jeffrey Simmons was hit over the head with coming in to the 2019 draft. The thing that ESPN ran basically a 2.5-minute video package of Jeffrey Simmons beating on a woman.
But none of it had to do with his college career. Everything from his career at Mississippi State was outstanding. He never had any issues, leadership, character, or otherwise in college. It was a pre-college video that circulated that clouded what Jeffrey Simmons was as a prospect, along with the injury.
And if you determine that the on-field issues are commensurate to what may be off-field issues, then don't draft him. I'm just saying, if the talent is there and you think that you're capable of handling him and handling a situation like this, I don't think that you should be I don't think you should be gun-shy, rather, about the idea that the Titans shouldn't take this player just because Isaiah Wilson and the optics around Isaiah Wilson demand that you not. By the way, 104.5 The Zone's 2021 NFL Draft coverage is sponsored by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage at an affordable price? Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They've been protecting Tennesseans since 1947.
But it's interesting hearing Robinson talk about how the Isaiah Wilson situation seemingly has changed the evaluation process, right? More inclusivity when evaluating prospects. Who better to include in that than Nick Saban, who they clearly have a relationship with, drafting Derrick Henry and drafting Rashaan Evans. The scout report that Christian Barmore is resistant to coaching structure. Who better to talk about? Who's going to give you a more honest opinion on that than Nick Saban?
And they'll, I can't say definitively that they've talked to Saban. I'm certain, because there's only, you can't really have much interaction with the coaches at these pro days. And I'm sure that Robinson and Vrabel, for all of the SEC players that they drafted, maybe not exclusively from Alabama, but for what their interest in SEC players has been, they will have done some due diligence on this. Learning last year, because I understand what you're saying, Lucas, that Isaiah Wilson has kind of evolved their draft process, but under the context of Zoom, under the context of COVID, I'm certain that they were doing this kind of homework on people before COVID hit. I think that the Isaiah Wilson situation is so unique that you can learn from it and you can adapt your strategies from that, given what you experienced. But I don't think that it should be the end-all, be-all in how you go about your draft process. Speaking of draft processes, there is a prospect that has not been discussed at all and has been mocked to the Titans by two very reputable people in media who have connections to the Tennessee Titans. We'll tell you who that player is and where we're getting this information from right after this. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
We're more invested in this upcoming Titans season than Bitcoin. Because, well, we really don't understand what Bitcoin even is. From the draft to the first game, it's wall-to-wall Titans coverage on your smart speaker. Hey, Alexa, play 104.5 The Zone.
Ascend shares our profits with our members, and 2020 is no exception. After a difficult year for all, we are pleased to announce we're returning more than $4 million. This brings our 16-year total to more than $92 million. Ascend is thrilled to support our members and prove the more you bank, the more you could earn. Go online to ascend.org and explore all the ways you could have earned a gift back from Ascend Federal Credit Union.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick. The type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera. And the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with ED? Well, I have great news. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy, clinically shown to open up and regrow blood vessels. We're finally treating the root cause problem of ED. No pills, no injections, and no surgery. Even Cambridge tested our technology and showed that it is highly effective. If you're struggling with ED and sick of the pills, call us right now for an unprecedented offer. We'll give you the initial medical assessment, exam, even the blood flow ultrasound, totally free. We'll also include a special gift proven to produce instant results in the bedroom. This is a $500 value, but it's totally free to those that call us in the next 2 minutes. Put a stop to your ED and get the intimacy back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now to qualify for this offer. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Hillside Medical Clinic. 615-576-5000.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-333-1750. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-333-1750. That's 800-333-1750 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-333-1750. 800-333-1750.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Nasal irrigation gets rid of germs by rinsing the nasal cavity, but neti pots are hard to use and, frankly, kind of gross. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. Millions use Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now it's time to start cleaning your nose with Navage. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Man, how can you afford gas for that big SUV?
I pay less for gas than everyone else. I got the free Get Upside Gas app and get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas.
Hold on. You're getting up to 25 cents off a gallon with the free Get Upside Gas app while I'm paying full price?
You know it. People earned over $1 million last year. You just got to take a picture of your gas receipt and bam, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back.
You don't have to tell me twice. I'm downloading the free Get Upside Gas app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code POWER for a 25 cent a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next tank. Just download the free Get Upside app at the App Store or Google Play and use promo code POWER. Save money on gas on every fill-up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code POWER. That's POWER. Visit getupside.com for terms.
Lucas, what the hell are you doing? I love that we can bring the behind-the-scenes stuff to air. Now, I don't know if Lucas likes when I do this kind of stuff, but the music is literally playing in my ear. And all of a sudden, he mutters into my ear as if I need or want anything to do with this. Oh, bleep, there's Champions League today. You're up.
I think out loud. It's what I do.
Why do you do this to me? You I love you. I really do. You do an exceptional job. You are a spectacular. I am grateful to have you as a part of this radio show. It really does make my life worlds easier. Now that I've said all the nice things about you, why do you continue to just lob stuff at my face? While not even like during the break, but as the bump music is playing.
Well, what happened there was I pressing the talk back to tell you we're coming back, and then I saw something come up on my phone.
And so you just word vomit into my ear.
And that thought entered my brain and pushed the "we're coming back" out of my brain and went into your ear.
Has that ever gotten you in trouble, the word vomit thing? Like, have you ever said something out loud that probably something that should have been retained internally that catches you off guard?
Yeah, probably too many times to count. Nothing that's gotten me in too big of trouble.
Yeah.
I was that kid in school that just wouldn't shut the hell up.
Oh, my God. It's a great thing if you're in this business, but Jesus, look. Oh, bleep, Champions League.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
Real Madrid and Chelsea kicking off at 2 o'clock.
Very exciting stuff. For that will conclude today's European soccer update by Lucas Panzica.
We did have a commenter asking for a soccer update, so there it is.
Oh, did they?
Yes, Raymond on Twitch said, now where's the soccer update?
Raymond also was sending me question or comments about discharging cats. So at this point, I appreciate Raymond's commentary in the stream on Twitch. And by the way, if you would like to watch 104.5 The Zone, if you want to feel like you're hanging out in the studio with us, you are welcome to do so. 104.5 The Zone. TV is live and in person. You can hang out with us on Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube, or Periscope. We are everywhere, and you can be here with us. We welcome you in to do so for cat discharge, European soccer updates, and more. Oh, what a tease. So before we get into what's going on, because the draft is going to be back in person, and what we're going to have is Ben Fischer, or who we're going to have is Ben Fischer, who's been on this show before, to talk about, what's gone into having the draft back and in person. He writes for Sports Business Journal. He does an exceptional job covering the NFL from the business side of things, and I honestly think that the business side of the NFL is so undercovered because people like me are not educated enough to cover the intricacies of major, like, Fortune 500 business, which the NFL is NFL is Fortune 5, not Fortune 500. But there's a lot of complexities to the business side of things, so Ben Fischer will join us in the next hour. But before we get into that, we have been talking about Christian Barmore, who's a prospect, not necessarily. He's been mocked to the Titans a couple of times, but a player that has been under-discussed, really not discussed at all, outside of these two individuals, Albert Breer and Peter Schrager. Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated, who has very, very deep connections to the Tennessee Titans, given that both GM and the head coach spent so much time with Albert in New England when they were a part of the Patriots organization. And then there's Peter Schrager, who is one of the best, I think, insiders Schrager doesn't break a ton of news, but given what he does on Good Morning Football and how involved he is in the sideline reporting with Fox, I think really that Schrager is one of the more underrated insiders who doesn't really pose himself as an insider. But everybody does mock drafts. The mock drafts that you want to pay attention to are the ones that you know people have connections to, the teams that you care about, where the mock drafts are being done. So, in both Schrager and Breer's mock draft is the linebacker. Now he's an off-the-ball linebacker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. J-O-K. J-O-K, as we will call him. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. He is an off-the-ball linebacker, and he has been mocked by these two individuals to the Tennessee Titans. Now, you would say, inside linebacker, not a need for the Tennessee Titans. And I would stop you and say you're looking too surface level on this. What do you do? Because fifth-year options are being picked up or declined at this point. We're in the week where that's being done. You saw Baker Mayfield get his fifth-year option accepted. The Titans will have to make a decision on Rashaan Evans sooner rather than later. Rashaan Evans is somebody who is inconsistent at this point in his career. I thought that in 2019 was probably the best version that we've seen of him. I thought 2020 was a particularly bad year for Rashaan Evans. He does one thing well. Goal line stands, Rashaan Evans is your guy, right? See ball, get ball, smack somebody in the face. Shed a blocker, go get it. But what you have in Rashaan Evans is a fifth-year option that in all likelihood is going to get declined, given what the Titans have done in years past with Corey Davis and Jack Conklin. And you have a player in Jayon Brown who is on, for all intents and purposes, a one-year deal, who has taken a one-year deal to go out and hit the open market again. There's a good chance that Jayon Brown prices himself out of Tennessee. We thought it was going to happen this year. It is very possible, once the finances in the NFL are right, that it could happen next year. So if Rashaan Evans, hypothetically, is out, if Jayon Brown goes to another team in free agency, what are you looking at with inside linebacker?
Starting from scratch.
David Long. I think people criminally overrate David Long. I think that David Long has some highlight plays. I think he pops in the run game. I think he is very much in that Rashaan Evans mold, even if they're not physically built the same. See ball, get ball. And he moves well in space. He comes from the Big 12, obviously, at West Virginia. So you understand that he's got a good degree of mobility to him, but his coverage ability, or his recognition, rather, his recognition on play action is lacking. I'm not saying that it can't get better. I'm just saying that's not a starting linebacker at this point, a starting inside linebacker for a defense that needs starting inside linebacker help. So the idea, now I don't think that JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame is going to be available when the Titans are picking at 22. But what we have talked about with John Robinson, and what John Robinson has spoken to several times, is that if you see a player that you like, go up and get him. John Robinson is no stranger to trading up. They have draft capital right now. They have a total of 9 picks. The Titans have not had a draft class larger than 6 players since 2017. This year is unique circumstances, right? You're having to restock the roster more organically than you might in years past because of the finances. But if you're looking around, the late teens, even like the mid-teens, and you think that this is a player you can go up and get, that you should go up and get, I think that there's a potential, if you see somebody like this at a position that doesn't jump off the page as a true blue, like, immediate need, but has the ability to factor into the long-term plans for the Titans, I think it makes a ton of sense. And you read his draft evaluation, or at least Lucas and I were reading his draft evaluation on Dane Brugler's Beast. Dane Brugler of The Athletic, he puts out the draft guide called The Beast each and every year. He's the second best off-ball linebacker in this class. But he has the versatility. And when I read the evaluation, it reads dead up like Rashaan Evans. Now, what this does not account for, which Lucas pointed out so aptly, is it does not account for the player's personality. It does not account. It just simply accounts for what Dane is seeing on film. So we don't know what his processing level is. We assume that it's decent if he's the second off-ball linebacker in this class, according to Dane Brugler. But it's a position that I don't think people have nobody's really talked about linebacker until like the later rounds for the Titans. And it's a player that makes a ton of sense for a system fit that I think Mike Vrabel and John Robinson are looking at and saying, we could probably do with an upgrade there.
But his versatility shapes up differently than Rashaan Evans did, right, coming into the draft. I mean, this is a guy that scouts will talk about as dropping back as a safety or a nickel, almost a hybrid defensive back who is he's a striker. He'll run and hit. But that wasn't the conversation around Rashaan Evans.
No, you're correct in that. I should have specified the striking element of Rashaan Evans reads, or of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah reads much like Rashaan Evans' draft evaluation did. Now, what Lucas was asking Rhett Bryant, in fact, we'll talk more about this on the other side, and I want to know what you guys have to say about it. 615-737-1045. 615-737-1045. Are we at a point where Rashaan Evans needs to be replaced, or where they need to be thinking about plans past Rashaan Evans and Jayon Brown? We'll talk about that coming up next. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
Get Jason Martin and Ramon Foster on J. Mart and Ramon tomorrow morning from 6 to 10 on 104.5 The Zone.
This is Damon Amendolara with a CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by 5 Hour Energy, the official sponsor of Getting Stuff Done. John Wall was once the fastest draw in the West, or the East most accurately. His lightning-fast first step, his explosion to the hoop, he was the number 1 overall pick for a reason, the 3rd youngest player ever to record a triple-double, and 5 straight NBA All-Star games. But it all unraveled with injuries, one after another sapping him of his juice. And now for the 4th straight season, he's shelved. A hamstring injury will force him to get shut down for the rest of the year. He'll be 31 years old when the season begins anew. And how much more elite basketball can we expect from Wall? It's a tough ending to a once dynamic career. Wall may have to evolve into a Derrick Rose role, veteran presence, but no longer a cornerstone. This is Damon Amendolara.
You want cash. You want to get stuff done. So what do? You buy 5 Hour Energy, of course. You upload the receipt to 5hewin.com, then find out if you've instantly won $10, $100, or even $1,000. Then you drink that 5 Hour Energy and cut through your to-do list like a hot knife through butter. 5 Hour Energy, the official sponsor of Getting Stuff Done. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 and a legal resident of the U.S. Ends June 30th, 2021. For rules, visit 5hewin.com/rules. Void where prohibited. Message and data rates may apply.
O'Reilly. O'Reilly Auto Parts is here to keep your car on the road with the right parts, advice from our parts professionals, and our free loaner tool program. Your local store has more than 80 specialty tools available for your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and ask about our free loaner tool program, or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. It's no secret that the housing market is red hot. Homes are selling day one and they're going for over list price. Some folks are making offers on homes that they haven't even seen in person. The competition is fierce. You have to be pre-approved and working with a strong mortgage lender. Get a leg up on the competition and get pre-approved now. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Are you in the market for a garage, storage shed, or pole barn? Enter Affordable Building Concepts. These guys have been serving the Nashville area for 20 years and have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They are licensed, bonded, and insured, so rest easy. Need a carport, new fence, deck, or a patio cover? Call them for your free on-site consultation, 615-594-5587, or visit affordable-buildings.com, 615-594-5587. Affordable Building Concepts, your backyard builders.
The magic of springtime is upon us.
Spring cleaning is one of the great joys of life.
Spring cleaning is when homes get a new twinkle in their eye,
A new spring in their step.
a new color in their cheeks.
But to make spring cleaning truly magical,
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
we'll be there before you hang up the phone.
1-800-GOT-JUNK. We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
When that shiny truck from 1-800-GOT-JUNK arrives at your house,
It's a sign of a new beginning,
a clean start.
a breath of fresh air.
When your home feels clean and happy,
The people inside feel clean and happy too.
we make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit us at 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
I'm Mick McGorn from 1 Hour, and spring is the best time to rejuvenate your AC with a maintenance plan I call
Mick's Trifecta.
Wait a minute, Ryan. Naming it after me?
Of course, Mick. Your spring AC maintenance package protects your system 3 ways.
I don't like to draw attention to myself.
That's crazy. You're a natural.
You think so?
The camera loves you, Mick.
This is radio, Ryan.
So tell us why Mick's Trifecta is such a great service.
First, your system is completely cleaned on the inside. Perfect.
Then what?
Every moving part lubricated so it runs smooth. Perfect.
And then?
Your system is tuned and calibrated to factory specs. Perfect.
Running at maximum efficiency.
And all this for only
$133.
Okay, Ryan, I guess we can call it Mick's Trifecta.
1hourmick.com.
Always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
Make your appointment for Mick's Trifecta.
Guaranteed 3 ways.
Good idea on the name, Ryan. Maybe I'll keep you around a bit longer.
Independently owned and operated.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Attention CDL-A drivers. U.S. Foods is hiring. New hires will receive a $7,500 sign-on bonus and will enjoy excellent benefits day one. For more information, call 847-268-5956. That's 847-268-5956.
104.5 The Zone's coverage of the 2021 NFL Draft begins Thursday, April 29th, thanks to Farm Bureau Health Plans. Tune in starting at 6 a.m. with J. Martin Ramon, followed by Buck Reising, Blaine and Mickey, and 3HL as we broadcast live leading up to the first round of the NFL Draft. Then at 6 p.m., Titans Radio takes over the airwaves with live coverage of the 2021 NFL Draft. Hear each selection as we broadcast live with the voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, Coach Dave McGinnis, Brett Bryan, and Amy Wells. For more information, visit 1045thezone.com.
From the Mark Spain Real Estate Studios, this is your Titans NFL Draft Station. WGFX Gallatin, Nashville. Trending now at 1045 The Zone.
It is 11:03. Good morning. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Preds scored 2 in the third period, pushing past the Florida Panthers 4-1 last night. UC Saros with a monster night, 39 saves. The Preds still hold the last playoff spot in the Central, fourth place with a 2-point advantage over the Stars, who beat the Hurricanes in OT last night. They'll do it again tonight back in Bridgestone, hosting the Panthers. It is a 7 p.m. puck drop. Braves bounced back to outscore the Cubs last night 8-7 after going scoreless on Sunday in a doubleheader. Game 2 of a 4-game slate with the Cubs is tonight at 6:20. Tennessee football announced its 2028 season opener today. The Vols will play West Virginia in the Duke's Mayo Classic in Charlotte in 7 years. Breaking news at once, and you're home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The most successful streaming and podcasting talent in Nashville is Buck Reising. And now he has a radio show to go along with it. Right here, it's Buck Reising on 104.5 The Zone.
You ready, Mace? Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to.
Yeah. Good morning, beautiful people of Nashville, of Middle Tennessee, wherever it is that you're hanging out with 104.5 The Zone. If you're doing it on your smart speaker, all you got to say is, Alexa, play 104.5 The Zone. You can hang out with us here from 10 to 1 each and every day. We have been talking so much on this Titans Tuesday about the NFL draft because we are, 2 days away before the first round officially begins. A little longer than 2 days away, a couple of hours and change. But there's still so much to discuss and a lot of moving parts, which we'll spend some time on, the fluidity of draft reports and how ridiculous they have been. In the meantime, we have been talking about a player that has been mocked to the Titans by two reputable sources, Albert Breer and Peter Schrager. That player is Notre Dame linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. JOK is what we'll call him. So JOK, the second best linebacker by draft grade, according to Dane Brugler, who I think almost all of us trust, is being mocked to the Titans at 22 by people who know what's going on with the Tennessee Titans. Now, that's something that we've discussed as not necessarily a need, but in terms of the long term, would make a lot of sense given the uncertainty of the futures of both Rashaan Evans and Jayon Brown. Now, what we spent some time on is how similar is JOK to what Rashaan Evans does or what Jayon Brown does. And Lucas, who is here, brought up the point with Rhett Bryan while we were sitting in the green room. Rhett Bryan of Titans Radio. This is where we hang out. We basically do a show before the show starts, which is good prep. You work out some kinks, you work out some ideas that you're going to bring to before you bring them to air. And a lot of time, I just wing it. If you want to jump in on the conversation, by the way, 615-737-1045. We invite you to do so. But, Lucas, what was the question that you brought up for Rhett Bryan to answer based on the evaluation that you read in The Beast, courtesy of Dane Brugler?
If Isaiah Simmons was a fair comp, because a lot of those conversations were surrounding Simmons going into the draft last year. More of an athletic freak of nature than JOK.
Different player. Very, very different player. 615-737-1045 if you want to jump in on the conversation. 615-737-1045. Doc Skurlock writes in on YouTube, says, part of me wants to stay put at 22, but part of me wants to be the splash headline of the draft as well. Trading down isn't an option in my book. Well, in this case, they would have to trade up to go get this guy. I feel like Titans fans would riot if they went, think about it, if they went inside linebacker in round one, traded up, much less to get one, and then did what in round two? Took an offensive tackle? Oh, my God. That would make you the splash headline of the draft. But I'm curious, Doc, and if you want to hang out with us on 104.5 The Zone TV, we invite you to do so across all four major streaming social media platforms. I don't know, what is the draw? Like, what other than hearing your team discussed at length on a major sports television network, why would you want to be the splash headline of the draft as well? I tell you what, Doc, if you want to think about it this way, you are the splash headline of the last draft because of how horrifically your first-round pick flamed out. You want those headlines? You can get them. Turns out they're not that hard to find. But for the purposes of trading up and trading back not being an option, I think that's super narrow-minded. That is not a route that I would choose to go. By the way, we're going to spend some time talking about the NFL draft itself, the event itself, because there hasn't been one live and in person since the 2019 draft here in Nashville so long ago, it feels like. People are tweeting out pictures yesterday and on Sunday of 2 years ago today and all of these things. One of the best experiences that I've ever had. So Ben Fischer of Sports Business Journal will join us coming up next to get into that because the draft is actually being held live and in person in Cleveland. 615-737-1045. 1045 is how you get involved. Speaking of draft coverage, Mike Keith, Coach Mack, Rhett Bryan, and Amy Wells, they have something special for you guys coming in your favorite podcast app. The OTP, the official Titans podcast, each day this week. They are doing one each day of this week leading up to the NFL draft. Mac, Rhett, Amy, Mike, it comes out on Thursday. Their mock draft episode comes out on Thursday. That's going to be really exciting as well. And it's presented, of course, as basically all of our draft coverage is brought to you by the fine folks at Farm Bureau Health Plans. They can coach you through it. They've been protecting Tennesseans since 1947. So go subscribe, rate, and review to the OTP, the official Titans podcast, and voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, will join us tomorrow to discuss what's been going on at St. Thomas Sports Park and with the OTP. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in on the conversation. Robert is in Nashville, and he wants to talk about what the Titans are going to do at 22. What's up, Robert?
Hey, sir. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Me too. I'm just real excited about the draft. I was going to comment about, I think there'll be a run on offensive linemen from about 13 to 17. And then I think Washington at 19 is going to take that guy from Notre Dame, the linebacker. But if he does, going to Notre Dame, he's probably a whole lot smarter than the linebackers the Titans have right now, Brown and the other guy. They're kind of underwhelming, I think. But I think the Titans will draft the third best corner in the draft, one of the big name guys, not Surtain or the guy from South Carolina. But I think they'll get a good character guy. You know, you got to be good at reading people, and I don't think the Titans GM interviewed that last guy. I think he drew a name out of a hat or something. He probably never saw the guy. He should have seen that coming. I mean, he gets paid a lot of money. I'd do his job for free. You hear that, Titans? Free GM. Good as the guy you got. Have a good one, sir.
Thank you for the call, Robert. I'm pretty sure Robert's called in 2 days in a row to cite his draft
He's
credentials.
campaigning.
I appreciate it. No better way to get your name out there than to call in and cite for draft credentials.
But if he's talking about Isaiah Wilson, the problem is they did interview him, Robert. That's the reason they drafted him, because they loved him in that interview.
He's got a big chuckle, just a big jolly guy. And they liked him a lot at the Combine, where, of course, John Robinson and Mike Vrabel met with Isaiah Wilson at the Combine. Now, with you know, I don't know necessarily about the assertion that a linebacker from Notre Dame would be smarter than Jayon or Rashawn. Now, I think Rashawn just gets so emotional. Rashawn gets so caught up in what's going on. And I think I like that about him from a media perspective, because he's he's a little ADD in his responses, but you can tell that he's passionate about what he's trying to get across, right? He's a willing interview, which I very much enjoy, but he gets so caught up in the moment. Now, I also like Jayon. I like Jayon as a player. I think he had a down year. He had a down year last year. He's just in terms of general, I don't know how to describe it, but just like basic humanity, Jayon's a bit of an airhead, but I enjoy him. Football-wise, Jayon's a very, very smart player. And you see that within the Titans' defense.
He calls the defense.
He
wears the green dot. But is there something to be said that Rashaan Evans, to my knowledge, has not had the green dot bestowed upon him? Hasn't Will Compton taken that up with Jayon Brown out? A guy who's been in and out of the practice squad, obviously a friend of the show. We love Compton, but is there something to be said for that your first-round pick at linebacker you don't trust enough to put the green dot on?
It's a real thing, because not only did it go – it's the reason, honestly, I don't say many nice things about Will, even though he joins us weekly, and I do enjoy Compton. The reason that Will lasts on rosters is not because of physical ability, because he knows how to play the mental side of the game. Not only did the green dot – and they took the green dot very quickly from Will. when he played in that game. I think it was for Jayon, the game right after Baltimore. I can't remember who the opponent was, but it was at Nissan Stadium, and Will very much got roasted, so the physical matters to a degree. But the green dot went from Will to David Long instead of Rashawn, and then at points to Kevin Byard.
Yeah, and is that not a concern?
Of course. Of course it is. So all things to keep in mind when evaluating what the Titans might do. Listen, I'm not telling you that I know I don't know what the hell their draft board looks like. I have no idea. But these are all things that are going to factor in depending on how the board breaks. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in on the conversation. Coming up next, though, we are going to talk to my friend Ben Fischer from Sports Business Journal to talk about what's actually going on at the draft. And speaking of Will Compton, by the way, because the draft will be live and in person in Cleveland, we will be live and in person at Tin Roof Demumbrian, right across the street from the Zone Studios, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., 104.5 The Zone on draft day, the first round. We are going to be broadcasting live from Tin Roof ahead of the first round. So you can join us or tune in as we give you all the latest news and info leading up to the 2021 NFL Draft. Listen, guys, I need you to come out and hang out with me and Will. At Will Compton's going to be there. Austin and Zach from A to Z Sports are going to be there. I'm going to be there. I don't want to sit in Tin Roof by myself. I need you to come hang out with me so we can have a good time on draft day, because I'm probably, don't tell my bosses, but I'm probably going to try and find a way to sneak a pipe bomb in, maybe towards the tail end of the broadcast, but we won't tell anybody. Nobody's listening, right? Ben Fischer of Sports Business Journal coming up next.
We collect and analyze all the NFL draft data so you don't have to. Not because you're lazy, but because you're brilliant. Be brilliant. Just ask Alexa to play 104.5 The Zone.
BetMGM welcomes you to Showtime with a risk-free first bet up to $600. Simply sign up and use bonus code MGM600 and you're on your way to betting with the king of sportsbooks. Plus, with BetMGM's new one-game parlay feature, you can choose from hundreds of bet types and combinations within a single game to build the perfect parlay. All the action on all your favorite sports will be at your fingertips when you download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use bonus code MGM600 to make your first bet risk-free up to $600. Bet with confidence and turn game day into payday at BetMGM. New customer offer, paid in free bets. Must be 21 years or older. Must be in Tennessee. Visit BetMGM.com for full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Hey, it's J-Mart Mortgage Investors Group. I've been telling you about them for months, and it's because I know how difficult it can be when you start thinking about that first dream home. Well, MIG, I just trust these guys so very much because of the way they do business. And maybe the best thing that they offer is the home court advantage. It's going to allow you to get into that dream home that you want with less money out of your pocket. You're going to be provided with an exclusive 15-year fixed rate second mortgage of $7,500, which is going to help you in so very many ways. Listen, it's going to cover your down payment. It's going to help on that. It's going to help with your closing costs. It's going to help with your prepaids. And in some cases, it can even help you with a portion of your insurance costs. Not just for first-time home buyers. They're so good if you are a first-time home buyer, but move-up buyers may also be eligible. I want you to go learn more about the Home Court Advantage program at migonline.com. Equal housing lender, license number 109111.
The magic of springtime is upon us.
Spring cleaning is one of the great joys of life.
Spring cleaning is when homes get a new twinkle in their eye,
a new spring in their step,
a new color in their cheeks.
But to make spring cleaning truly magical,
call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We'll be there before you hang up the phone.
1-800-GOT-JUNK. We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
When that shiny truck from 1-800-GOT-JUNK arrives at your house,
it's a sign of a new beginning,
a clean start,
a breath of fresh air.
When your home feels clean and happy,
the people inside feel clean and happy too.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit us at 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
I'm Mick McGorn from 1 Hour, and spring is the best time to rejuvenate your AC with a maintenance plan I call
Mick's Trifecta.
Wait a minute, Ryan. Naming it after me?
Of course, Mick. Your spring AC maintenance package protects your system 3 ways.
I don't like to draw attention to myself.
That's crazy. You're a natural.
You think so?
The camera loves you, Mick.
This is radio, Ryan.
So tell us why Mick's Trifecta is such a great service.
First, your system is completely cleaned on the inside. Perfect.
Then what?
Every moving part lubricated so it runs smooth. Perfect.
And then?
Your system is tuned and calibrated to factory specs. Perfect.
Running at maximum efficiency.
And all this for only
$133.
Okay, Ryan, I guess we can call it Mick's Trifecta.
1hourmick.com.
Always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
Make your appointment for Mick's Trifecta.
Guaranteed 3 ways.
Good idea on the name, Ryan. Maybe I'll keep you around a bit longer.
Independently owned and operated.
Brett Bryan here on behalf of Twin Spires Sportsbook. Twin Spires is live in Tennessee, and they're coming out of the starting gates with their best offer yet, with up to $1,000 in risk-free bets just in time for all the tournament action. Twin Spires is backed by the same team as the Kentucky Derby and Churchill Downs Racetrack, bringing over 140 years of tradition, excitement, and wagering experience. For new players in Tennessee, Twin Spires will give you 7 days of risk-free betting, up to $1,000. That's right, up to $1,000 and 1 whole week to try your luck. Now you can actually bet on those upset picks you've been scribbling down on your bracket, and Twin Spires has the offer to get you started. Just download the Twin Spires Sportsbook app and enter promo code FREE1000 to participate. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit www.twinspires.com. Must be 21 and up and physically present in Tennessee to bet. For help with a gambling problem, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Identity thieves love tax forms with personal info needed to steal your identity. That's why LifeLock helps protect, monitor, and restore your identity. No one can monitor all transactions at all businesses, but you can save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com. Promo code RISK.
Reising here with you, 104.5 The Zone, till 1 o'clock. It is draft week. Now, we have spent a lot of time on players. We have spent a lot of time on the Titans, teams, prospects, draft order. But the most undercovered element, like the NFL needs more coverage, but the most undercovered element of the NFL is the business of football. So we bring on our friend Ben Fischer from Sports Business Journal to talk about the business of football, and particularly the NFL draft. What's going on, Ben?
Hey, not much. Just getting ready to fly to Cleveland. Back in the business travel game. It's been a while.
Yeah, no kidding. When's the last time that is this the first time you traveled for work since like during the pandemic?
Yes, when you put it that way. I didn't realize that. But I was going to go to the Super Bowl, but had to bail at the last second on that. So this is the first time back out traveling.
Very exciting. You can follow him at Ben Fischer, SBJ. So it's the first time for a lot of things, namely the first time that the draft has been held in person since it was here in Nashville a couple of years ago, and is, the revenue-generating experience that the draft as an event has become for cities. So with what's gone into Cleveland hosting this NFL draft, we talked a little bit about this the last time that you were on with us, but your colleague at Sports Business Journal, Brent McCormick, wrote an article about the draft stage officially being set in Cleveland. And the quote, the first year in Chicago, he's quoting somebody who is Adrian Gomez, who is responsible for a part of the NFL draft experience. The first year in Chicago, we thought we might have 10 to 15,000 fans. We were looking at more like 30 to 50,000 a day. By the time we were in Nashville in 2019, we were at 200,000 a day. I think that what they've created attracts new fans. That is from Sports Business Journal, an article that you can read for free right now. So with the scale of this thing, Ben, how much big? We don't expect the draft to be bigger than it was here in Nashville, obviously because of the restrictions that the global pandemic has brought about. But what exactly is this weekend in Cleveland going to look like?
Well, on Friday, the league gave us some numbers finally. They were being cagey as they worked through with Cleveland and Ohio regulators how many people would actually be allowed there. And that was a huge variable, I mean, maybe they're doing it in person, but if you still look out and only see, 20 people in the plaza, it wouldn't look very interesting. Where they came down is that they're going to have about 55,000 people on site each day. That's 50,000 people in the draft experience, which is the marketing expo, basically, where you can go, kick a field goal through the uprights and, do a Bridgestone or a Panini autograph display. And then there's going to be another 5,000 people or 4,000 to 5,000 people allowed into the actual draft stage immediate vicinity, where you'll actually have a direct line of sight to Goodell and the picks on stage. So about 55,000 people per day. That's certainly less than it would attract under normal circumstances, a quarter of the Nashville crowd.
Right.
But it will be the biggest public gathering in of the pandemic, certainly. And actually, the Cleveland's saying that's the biggest gathering they've had since the 2016 Republican National Convention. So it's not 100% back, but it'll be a pretty good crowd there.
What stipulations are they requiring for the crowds that are going to be in attendance? They can't mandate that people be vaccinated if they're going to attend the draft itself, but I know that teams are being allowed basically individual pods of super fans that are going to be required to be vaccinated, correct?
Right. So the draft experience, which is the general admission thing, which is, more about watching the draft on big boards and doing the marketing stuff,
right,
that does not require a vaccination. You do still have to fill out a form within the app to, attest that we've all filled out a million of these to attest that, you haven't tested positive for COVID, you don't have any current symptoms and all of that. But that's pretty laid back. For the draft stage itself, yes, there's going to have an inner circle where each team can pick 12 fans to come in, and those people do have to be vaccinated. And then there's a standing room only section that's not going to be in the draft theater itself, but immediately outside of it, where you will have a line of sight into the crowd, into the actual draft, and that's also vaccinated only. So, that smaller group of 5,000, that is a vaccine mandate essentially.
Ben Fischer of Sports Business Journal is here with us on 104.5 The Zone. You can follow Ben at Ben Fischer, SBJ. I think something that you pointed out on Twitter that I don't think it goes underrated, but I just think we have such a disparity in people like yourself who are qualified to cover the business element of football when it's so, I mean, we talk about the business of football all the time, and then none of us, as sports talk radio slaps know how to intellectually discuss it. But when you talk about how much or how many of the NFL's departments or branches of the NFL, for lack of a better term, are involved in the draft, is there a single entity or a single part of the NFL corporate structure that does not have some part to play in the draft as an experience?
No, it's pretty much everybody. The show is primarily the jurisdiction of their special events division that puts on the Super Bowl and the draft and more things on an annual basis. That's the blocking and tackling of the actual business, or the actual event. But, their club business development, their marketing, their media, obviously, more people watch Thursday night than watch the Oscars. It's becoming big business, and it's really the linchpin of the off-season business at least from a dollars and cents standpoint.
Yes, it's I can't get over the scale of it, even though, I understand how much we talk about it, how much it drives content, how much it drives conversation. Does it ever seem strange to you, Ben, just from a purely 1,000-foot view, when you look at what the NFL draft actually is, that people are obsessed with this thing that to me largely amounts to somewhere between a livestock show and a beauty pageant?
No, I think about it a lot. I mean, if I ever need to tell somebody who doesn't know much about sports why I find my job so interesting, is that so much in sports is literally entirely a creation of business people looking to make an event out of nothing. The NFL draft could be 33 people pushing around a spreadsheet through Google Docs, but they have made it this massive event where millions upon millions of dollars and people's lives are uprooted and all of this. And there's unlike a game, there's very little action or activity actually happening here. It's almost entirely a creation out of thin air. And I guess you got to respect the game. is my take
for
on it.
sure.
It's just so interesting how they built that up, you know.
Yeah, no, it's always a fascination to me. I mean, just from the standpoint for our worldview here in Tennessee, here in Nashville, to watch just the sheer amount of humanity that congregated on Lower Broadway just to not be able to see the draft stage. I mean, much less it was pouring down rain the first night, and still everybody is out there wasted, drunk in the streets just to watch, not even to be able to see the draft stage, but to watch it on a television on Lower Broadway, or projector rather, to see who their team is going to end up taking. And then that's all the drama after 2.5 months, basically, of pre-draft buildup. It's always an interesting way. It's a good case study into, you know, what we prioritize as humanity, but that's a different conversation for another day.
Right.
Ben,
Well,
go ahead, Ben.
Well, if you got to let me off, say so. But I was just going to make the point that people love the fact that it's not a game, though, because there's no risk of losing.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars, you know Thursday is going to be a good day, and you can't say that most Sundays in the fall with the Jags.
Yeah, no, it's Christmas Day, except with the NFL, you get it like 5 different times between free agency and 3 days of the draft. Ben Fischer of Sports Business Journal is here with us on 104.5 The Zone. You reported earlier today, Ben, that the Eagles are going to be the latest team to sell presenting rights to their draft room. We've seen what's going on with the Rams and basically the mansion that they've purchased and sold sponsorship all over the place. Is this something that we should expect to see become a trend in football?
I'm surprised it's not already a trend.
Yeah.
I was, you know, after last year, how interested we all were to see into these coaches' houses. And when the Rams did this thing of renting a Malibu mansion and selling the naming rights to Rocket Mortgage, like all good business ideas, it's obvious after somebody else thinks of it. And when I said that, like, oh my God, of course you do that. You know, you get a beautiful house, Rocket Mortgage pays for it, they get their name and logo slapped all over everything. The Eagles are doing something similar, but a little bit more reserved. They're not renting a space, they're just naming their draft their war room at their headquarters for this Life brand company, and that's going to be like a huge hit for this Life brand company. They're still sort of new, but I'll tell you, every Eagles fan is going to know the name of that company by Sunday. So I'm surprised we're not seeing more of it. It seems like a fairly obvious place to monetize the draft. On the other hand, the draft is tough because as much as that seems like a good idea on the business side of the house, the general managers and the football guys, they hate it if you move your coffee cup. They're convinced that their ability to draft the quarterback of the future is tied up in routine and tradition. And if they see a marketing guy in that room, some of them freak out. So there's that tension there too.
Oh, certainly here in Tennessee. John Robinson, the general manager, was speaking with us Titans media yesterday and basically said, no, we're not going to have a McMansion. Maybe me and Vrabel will go, you know, pitch a tent out by the river or something like that, and we'll make the picks from there. I think there's always that conflict between the business of football and then the actual football side of things. A fascinating way to see the way that the NFL continues to monetize literally everything that they can get their hands on. Ben, you said that you're on your way to Cleveland. By the way, safe travels. What is going to be your focus as somebody who's going to be reporting on this draft from the business standpoint?
Well, I think it's going to be a lot of observation just to see how a post-pandemic isn't quite right, but maybe a late-stage pandemic event is handled.
Yeah.
Because, you know, last year's all-digital draft was really seen as a template throughout sports business for how you do productions where nobody's in the same place. And I think in the same way, the NFL is so big, it tends to lead the sports business. And if the NFL comes to find a way that you can bring 50,000 people together, still get a lot of the upside of the in-person event, while, you know, still not quite having everybody there and a lot of limitations on protocols, and people are happy with it, you're going to see a lot of the tricks and the things they use this week replicated elsewhere at like MLB All-Star Game and other events like that. So a lot of it's just going to be watching with my own eyes how it works and whether it seems to be meeting people's needs and also staying on the right side of COVID protocol. And then the second thing for me is just meeting people face to face. There's people at NFL headquarters, executives that I've been on the phone with 3 times a week for a year and a half, but I haven't seen them, even though as I sit here, my apartment is 3 miles from NFL headquarters. So I'm just looking forward to, you know, maybe not shaking a hand, maybe bumping elbows and having a cup of coffee with people that, you know, I used to do business with in person all the time, and it's been a long time. So looking forward to that. too.
I was going to say, are you excited for that? I feel like here in Tennessee, it's a little different. People have largely been kind of going at their own pace with the whole global pandemic thing. But my first time like in a larger gathering of things since I've been vaccinated, I still feel kind of like off center. I still feel a little antsy about large gatherings. I mean, we're talking about 55,000 people, Ben. I don't know how do you feel about that personally?
Well, I've been now fully vaccinated plus 2 weeks for about a week now, and I'm starting to get back my sea legs, not feeling so weird about restaurants. And, I guess we'll just see, because I get you. We've learned some new habits, and it's going to take a while to unlearn them. It's 2.5 million square feet. It's mostly going to be outdoors in the stadium vicinity. I'm optimistic that it's not going to be the Jacksonville UFC event by any means. I'm sure there'll be moments in the next few days where I hesitate to do something, but I'm vaccinated. I think if you can trust anyone, you can trust the NFL. I know that's a weird thing to say, but like the last thing they're going to do is get sideways in the CDC because they know how important it is that, they get a little aggressive here, and then suddenly they've got a problem with the political side on capacity of stadiums. So they're going to play by the rules. If for no other reason, they want to, make sure they got full stadiums in the fall.
For all of the faults that the NFL has, they do a big event better than any other professional sports league, without question. Ben Fischer covers the business of football better than anybody out there. You can follow him at Ben Fischer SBJ. Make sure that you're reading all of his coverage from Cleveland at Sports Business Journal. Ben, we appreciate the time. Thanks for making us smarter today.
Sure thing, anytime.
Ben Fischer with us on 104.5 The Zone. Lucas, while we were talking about the draft, the business of the draft, before we get back to the draft conversation, there has been some breaking news from Rocky Top, yes?
Yes, breaking news. Quavaris Crouch has tweeted out a picture of himself in a Michigan State uniform with the caption, "Kicking it up north."
Okay. Quavaris Crouch heading finally out of the transfer portal, heading to Michigan State by his own social media admission. We still have no movement on Henry To'oTo'o, correct?
Correct. There's been nothing on To'oTo'o. As far as I know, he's still enrolled at the university. I don't believe he's on campus. He's certainly not with the team. But that is at least one of the two question marks with those two former blue chip prospects. And that's an interesting move for Crouch going up to Michigan State.
Yeah. Not necessarily. Michigan State's in a weird spot after having, that brief run of success. They've really tailed off, but we'll see what happens. And, the Vols defense continue. We basically counted To'oTo'o and Crouch out for the Vols defense at this point. But
yeah, it would have been a very unexpected development. We didn't rule it out, but an unexpected development to have either of those guys on the team next year.
Yeah, without question. All right. Good job out of you, Lucas. So, speaking of unexpected developments, there have been unexpected developments with the 49ers. I mean, I guess. I don't know if I should call them unexpected, right? Because we know what draft reports are. We know what draft rumor season is. It is largely regarded as the lying season, okay? So everything that has come out over the course of the last couple months, I will not say that I've ignored it. I will not say that I've discounted it. I will just say that I am looking at it very, very, very skeptically. There is very little of these draft reports that I end up buying. But what you're going to hear coming up next is something that Ian Rappaport has been, as all of the major NFL insiders have been, following very closely what the San Francisco 49ers are going to do with the third overall pick that they traded up to get. Now, we all know that the position is going to be quarterback. That, at this point, cannot be disputed. But the question of which quarterback it will be, and neither of them named Justin Fields, it seems, has once again resurfaced this week in a way that I simply can't understand. We've put it in a poll. We've put it up on a poll for you to vote on Twitter, an open-ended poll, rather, I should say. What percentage of draft reports do you trust? Puka says none, totally. Bud Dupree Stan account says 100%. The last mock draft I read is exactly how I expected the draft to fall. Swaggy P-Knuckle says only yours, Buck. Well, listen, I told you guys, I'm staying the hell away from draft pick reporting. It's so easy to get got this time of year. Now, it's not to say that I'm not trying to find out what's going on, but in a way that, like, I probably share on a public forum, whether that be Twitter, the radio show, A to Z Sports Primetime, or the 615 Sessions podcast, which a new episode is out today with ESPN's Teron Davenport. In fact, you'll hear from Teron later on in the show. We're going to play you a clip since Teron can't technically come on the radio station, which is unfortunate because I love TD. But TD was on the podcast today, and you'll hear from that. You'll hear a clip from the 615 Sessions podcast later on in the show. But what I look at this draft process like is we probably, as a media collectively, I think all of us who are tasked with reporting, who are closely tied financially, basically, our jobs are closely tied at least, to your NFL team, I think a rule of thumb is you probably share about 10% of the information that you hear on any given day or on any given week, any given month, any given football season. About 10% of the information actually sees the light of day, or at least that's how it should be, because so often this stuff is so difficult to vet out, to report out, and it's become more difficult given how things are skewed. You know, it's like any business in America. Everything gets McDonaldized, and all of the stuff goes directly from the top agencies to the top NFL insiders, and the local guys get squeezed out a little bit. But it's okay. We should do better at our jobs. What we're gonna talk about is what's coming out of San Francisco right now, because I just simply cannot stand the way that the NFL draft reporting has come about. You'll hear from Ian Rappaport on this coming up next. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
Want more fun from J-Mart and Ramon? Yes, that also means the pettiness. Hang out with Jason and Ramon whenever you want. Subscribe to J-Mart and Ramon wherever you get your podcasts.
You have the opportunity to build a future. AT&T is hiring technicians across the greater Nashville area to help expand and support the AT&T fiber network. Our technician teams are on the front lines of growing the AT&T fiber footprint and assisting customers with installing and supporting AT&T fiber. You'll experience new challenges and adventures with a full benefits package and employee perks. Sound like the right job for you? Apply today at att.jobs/technician. That's att.jobs/technician. AT&T is an equal opportunity employer.
Imagine her delight when she unwraps a luxurious spa day from A Moment's Peace, the newly remodeled day spa and salon in Cool Springs. Whether you spend a little or go lavish, you can take comfort that your gift will be treasured, your love on display and a smile on her face. What a thoughtful romantic you are. Give affordable luxury from A Moment's Peace for mums, dads and grads in Cool Springs across I-65 from Galleria Mall at the intersection of Carruthers Parkway and Bakersbridge Avenue. Call 224-0770 or click online anytime at momentspeace.com.
Economic forecasters are predicting inflation, which will likely cause interest rates to rise as a result. But here's the good news from Accurate Mortgage. Interest rates are still low and you have an opportunity to save money if you act fast. Perhaps you can shorten your term from a 30-year to a 15, or get a cash-out refi to pay off high-interest debt. The clock is ticking, so don't delay. Call Accurate Mortgage today at 615-833-0456 or visit AccurateMTG.com. Accurate Mortgage Group, a division of Acopia LLC, is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 4664.
I'm Mick McGorn from 1 Hour, and spring is the best time to rejuvenate your AC with a maintenance plan I call
Mick's Trifecta.
Wait a minute, Ryan. Naming it after me?
Of course, Mick. Your spring AC maintenance package protects your system 3 ways.
I don't like to draw attention to myself.
That's crazy. You're a natural.
You think so?
The camera loves you, Mick.
This is radio, Ryan.
So tell us why Mick's Trifecta is such a great service.
First, your system is completely cleaned on the inside. Perfect.
Then what?
Every moving part lubricated so it runs smooth. Perfect.
And then?
Your system is tuned and calibrated to factory specs. Perfect.
Running at maximum efficiency.
And all this for only
$133.
Okay, Ryan, I guess we can call it Mick's Trifecta.
1hourmick.com.
Always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
Make your appointment for Mick's Trifecta.
Guaranteed 3 ways.
Good idea on the name, Ryan. Maybe I'll keep you around a bit longer.
Independently owned and operated.
Hey, homeowners, if your current mortgage rate is over 3%, you can save a ton of money with Loan Pronto's zero-cost refi. It's Dawn Davenport from 3HL. Even if you just refinanced your mortgage in 2020, do it again now. Snag an even lower rate with Loan Pronto. And if you act now, Loan Pronto can pay your closing costs too. Rates have started moving up, but these are still some of the lowest rates in the country. So act now, lock in that lower house payment, or get cash out of your equity. Loan Pronto makes it so easy they can close in 3 to 4 weeks with no paperwork, no big bank hassle. Plus, Loan Pronto can cover all of your closing costs. That's no points, no junk fees. In fact, most Loan Pronto refis don't even require an appraisal. Call now. Ask about the Loan Pronto zero-cost refi. 615-499-5780. Do it now. Even skip your next 2 house payments. LoanPronto.com, 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. No cash refi not available on all loans.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now. It's a tailgate party on game day. It's a welcome to the neighborhood. It's another anniversary of the start of something good. It's sharing Bluebell ice cream as the evening sun goes down. The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Bad phone systems are bad for business. Poor clarity, lack of features, absolutely no support. Well, good news. Reliable VoIP does exist. VoIP from C Spire Business is a game-changing, stress-free communication system with crystal clear audio and premium features, all backed by our team of experts, available 24/7. Now that's VoIP. C Spire Business. Stay connected with powerful communication tools at cspire.com/business.
Exterior lighting can really highlight your home. Hey, Gary Sullivan here. Haven Lighting is a low-voltage LED smart system. It's inexpensive to operate, and it's programmed and controlled by your phone. No timers, turns on at sunset, and adjusts each day. Learn more, havenlighting.com.
I was born on electric fever. On the streets of Rockaway.
Titans Tuesday here on 104.5 The Zone. Love to see it. So, I'm very upset. I didn't tell Lucas that I was upset to start this segment. I'm pissed. I walked into the break room here at the palatial 104.5 The Zone studios. Buck Reising with you, by the way, until 1 o'clock. And I said, I'm trying to shed a little weight. The COVID use of Uber Eats has been too much at my house, so I'm trying to drop a little weight, especially now that we're on camera all the time. Now, I don't think I look heavy on camera. In fact, I'm looking at myself on Facebook Live. You can watch with us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope, or Twitch, but I would just like to shed a few pounds. So I've been trying to hold off with the bad food, with the Uber Eats, with the snacks. But all I had today was a Kind bar, which almond butter Kind bar, a little bit of protein, probiotics, so good for my tummy. But I'm still hungry. And this show happens at a very inconvenient time for me to be able to have the normal lunch routines of a regular human being. So I go to the break room, and I walk by in the break room. It's basically a sack of and I'll hold it up for those of you watching on YouTube TV. Well, I've already eaten basically half of it. But it's these tiny, they look like crab apples. They're very, very small. I've never seen an apple this small in my life. But there's 2 bags of them sitting in the break room, untouched because, of course, this is radio. Nobody eats healthy. So I walk by the apple, array, and I say, it'd probably be better for me to have an apple. And then I lock eyes with a Snickers bar in the vending machine. I say, well, at least the Snickers bar has peanuts and a little bit of protein, right? So I go and I swipe my card at the vending machine. I punch in what I want. Which is, of course, the Snickers, 143. And then all of the sudden, the vending machine freezes, Lucas, after it has charged me my money for the Snickers bar that I desire. Nothing's moving. I think the vending machine is still frozen, if not somebody here at Cumulus Nashville, because, of course, we are a part of a larger cluster here at 104.5 The Zone. Maybe somebody got lucky and they got my Snickers bar.
I got 2 items for the price of one in that vending machine just last week.
All right, so it's you rigging the system. This is what's happening.
It all balances out.
It doesn't.
Keeps us on our toes.
No, it doesn't balance out. I want my Snickers bar. You're not you when you're hungry, right? No free ads, but damn. So now I'm sitting here eating this tiny little apple. It's just the smallest apple that I've ever seen, and I feel wildly unsatisfied. And you know what we call this? Sweet, sweet justice. Not quite sweet, because the Snickers bar would have been sweeter than the apple, but at least I'm eating something semi-healthy. Anyway, 615-737-1045. I'm a little nervous to go home, honestly. I was thinking about going home for lunch.
Yeah, you don't know what you're walking into.
I don't know what I'm walking into, especially after we had the cat diapers conversation. For those of you just now tuning in, I have 2 kittens. One of them is in heat, and they are both reaching sexual maturity. One is a boy, one is a girl. They are brother and sister, but cats don't know that. They don't care. Mother Nature takes over. So now I'm concerned whether I should have left the female kitten, Frankie, whether I should have left, because I immediately absconded Leo off to my girlfriend's apartment so that we could separate them until May 24th. We can get.
Oh, so they are separated.
Hell yes.
Okay.
No. Are you kidding me? I was not going to leave to come do the radio show and have the potential of feline incest hovering over my head today. I got too much stuff to do. I got too much going on. It's draft week. Ugh. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm walking into, but I'm hoping now that people have brought up the idea that there should be cat diapers, I'm concerned what the situation may look like when I come home to find what Frankie has done. It's the first time Frankie's been alone in the house by herself all day. Deeply concerning. Anyway, what is also concerning is the amount of draft reports that are out there, factual, not factual, scout skewed, executive skewed, people trying to get their messages out there the way that they want their messages out there. So for the past, Lucas? We would say the past month, maybe a little over a month, the 49ers have been saying or leaking to somebody. Adam Schefter seems to be the most reputable of these sources, who the leaks are being leaked to, that the 49ers, with the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft, sound like Roger Goodell, are interested in Mac Jones.
It was since the Alabama Pro Day that coincided with Ohio State's Pro Day, where Shanahan and co. went to Tuscaloosa instead, though they did go to Ohio State afterwards. But
he had a private workout for Shanahan.
That was kind of the turning point, though, when they went to Alabama over Ohio State. About a month ago, yeah.
So about a month ago. So for about a month, Mac Jones, 3rd overall. You see it in the mocks, you see it in the simulators, you see it on and on and on it goes. Mac Jones, 3rd overall to the 49ers. And it honestly has people, and I don't just say this from my perspective, but it has people questioning Kyle Shanahan's football intelligence because of what Mac Jones is as opposed to, say, Justin Fields. But then this from Ian Rappaport reporting live yesterday from the draft stage in Cleveland, talking about what the 49ers said at their most recent press conference and what it means for who could go 3rd overall in the NFL draft.
Here's my understanding of where the 49ers stand. Now, Coach Kyle Shanahan said in that same press conference they would feel comfortable with 5 of the quarterbacks at 3. Obviously, 2, presumably Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, are going to be gone. So he's saying they'd be comfortable with 3. My understanding is they would be comfortable with 2. And that would exclude Justin Fields, the decorated Ohio State quarterback, from the conversation, meaning the 49ers are down to Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Do they know for absolute certain? No. My understanding is they do have a favorite, and really they have a favorite. They've had a favorite for this entire time, and Kyle Shanahan basically said it. They traded up with a player in mind, and then they went through the entire process. What they are trying to do right now is build a consensus in their building. There's nothing more important for an organization, nothing, than a franchise quarterback. Everyone has to be on board. So they're going through everything again, the tape, the references, they're doing calls, they're speaking with people from all sorts of different places in their background. Every single place they can get in a possible inkling into the person, that is what the 49ers are going through now.
Ian Rappaport yesterday, that sound courtesy of the NFL Network. So now it's Trey Lance and Mac Jones, but nobody's interested in Justin Fields. What the hell is going on? I am so tired of this. I am so tired of the idea. It's the 3rd pick. You know who's going to be there. It's not like it matters really to anybody else.
We do this every draft, but I think it's more tiring because of the amount of quarterbacks that you have to sift through. Because of 5 quarterbacks in the first round that are going to be so much more over-scrutinized than any other position. To me, that's what I feel like there's been more pre-draft fatigue this season than normal, and I think it's just because of the amount of quarterbacks.
I want to slam my head against the console. We have 9 monitors in front of my face here in the Zone Studios. I want to punch out each one of them because of the stupidity. Why are we playing these mind games? It's the 3rd pick. For who? What are you doing with this? And why is Justin Fields disqualified? I fully believe that Kyle Shanahan is a hugely intelligent football mind. I fully believe that Kyle Shanahan is capable and competent. Why is Justin Fields, who is clearly talented, being excluded from this when it's about talent more than it is coaches anymore? Is Kyle Shanahan not capable of finding a way to make Justin Fields a better quarterback? What sense does that make? 615-737-1045. Eric on Facebook Lives writes in, well, somehow Fields is going at 32 according to – that's what Chris Sims said today? That's what had the morning show all bothered?
Well, he had Tevin Jenkins, I know, mocked to the Titans. I thought that would be why everybody's up in arms, the tackle from Oklahoma State.
I really think, I think and maybe I'm wrong about this, but just based off talking to people, I really think that we're overestimating people's anger level with the idea that they would take a right tackle in the first round. But Chris Sims has Justin Fields going 32? Who is even picking 32 this year? Lucas, can you look that up for me? I have no idea who the last
pick is. Not the Buccaneers?
Oh, that would make sense.
Come on.
Idiot.
He's got Justin Fields 32 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's how tired I am. I didn't even realize.
Which if the Bucs, if Justin Fields falls to 32, the Bucs, who don't really need anything else, I'm sure will gladly take him.
I think Bruce Drennan should tell me what he thinks of what I just did there, because that was really, really poor. Unbelievable by me.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, I really think that I'm an idiot after that. Of course the Bucs are picking 32. They won the damn Super Bowl. Oh, God. We'll talk more about who the Titans could potentially take at 22, because we had a good conversation with John Robinson, and then on my 615 Sessions podcast that I do for A to Z Sports, Teron Davenport of ESPN, who's one of the best draft evaluators, best talent evaluators of any of us here in the local media. We talked a lot about slot receivers and whether they're worth taking in the first round. We'll tell you which receiver we're talking about, and you'll hear from John Robinson coming up next. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
Get nonstop draft talk and coverage on the go. Download the 104.5 The Zone app and never miss a moment. It's NFL Draft Month on 104.5 The Zone.
This is Damon Amendolara with a CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. So hockey is going to be now broadcast by 2 new television partners, ESPN and Turner. ESPN, of course, once had hockey, so they have some institutional knowledge about how to do it well, and they used to. But that was 20 years ago, and TV has changed, and the viewer has changed. So one word of wisdom that'll still resonate to the new rights holders: treat the hockey fan with respect. NBC's greatest legacy with televising the NHL was its care for the product. No glowing pucks, no robots with hockey sticks, no celebrity athletes as commentators. It was hockey for hockey fans, by hockey people. It was a reputable broadcast, and it cared about hockey, not sizzle. Let's hope ESPN and Turner do the same. This is Damon Amendolara.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Of course, we have everything you need for that big brake job. Right now, you can save 15% when you buy any Duralast brake pads and any 2 Duralast rotors. It's a great way to save while you take on the full job. Oh, and one tip. Go for a nice, easy drive after you finish the job. It'll help break in your new brakes. For more tips, visit AutoZone.com/DIY. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea,
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is Tom Seifert, owner and founder of Genesis Auto Brokers. After over a decade in business, I often hear the same things from my customers. One, that was so easy, and two, I wish I'd called you sooner. Dealing with traditional dealerships is a headache. Genesis Auto Brokers is the better way. Simply tell us what it is you're looking for, and with our access to over 100,000 vehicles at dealer-only auctions every week, we'll find just the right car for you. Visit GenesisAutobrokers.com today. That's GenesisAutobrokers.com. Or call me direct at 615-310-9637.
Spring is the time to reorganize your life, and Artisan Custom Closets can help. Closets, garages, laundry rooms, and more. They can customize the perfect solution for your space. Go to artisancustomclosets.com or call 615-800-2199 to set up your free home consultation today.
Fleet Cards USA.
Looking for an easy way to manage expenses and cash flow? Get Fuel Cards. They're the easy way to get additional credit to help run your business. Plus, our reporting and analytics could save you even more. Go to fleetcardsusa.com, answer a few questions, and hi-ho, you're good to go.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with ED? Well, I have great news. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy, clinically shown to open up and regrow blood vessels. We're finally treating the root cause problem of ED. No pills, no injections, and no surgery. Even Cambridge tested our technology and showed that it is highly effective. If you're struggling with ED and sick of the pills, call us right now for an unprecedented offer. We'll give you the initial medical assessment, exam, even the blood flow ultrasound, totally free. We'll also include a special gift proven to produce instant results in the bedroom. This is a $500 value, but it's totally free to those that call us in the next 2 minutes. Put a stop to your ED and get the intimacy back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now to qualify for this offer. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Hillside Medical Clinic. 615-576-5000.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-333-1750. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-333-1750. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-333-1750. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-333-1750. 800-333-1750.
Identity thieves love tax forms with personal info needed to steal your identity. That's why LifeLock helps protect, monitor, and restore your identity. No one can monitor all transactions at all businesses, but you can save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com. Promo code RISK.
Titus and Tate, a podcast from two obsessed basketball lovers.
He's seen it all. He can go into any living room in North Carolina, anywhere in the world, and say, I am the blueprint. I am what it looks like to be successful. And guess what? I'm the first black head coach at the University of North Carolina. And it's not about that. I've seen people say it's a woke hire or something like that. No, Hubert Davis earned this job.
More than just analysts and stats. Titus and Tate. Listen on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your shows.
From the Mark Spain Real Estate Studios, this is your Titans NFL Draft Station. WGFX Gallatin, Nashville. Trending now at 104.5 The Zone.
It is 12:02. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Preds scored 2 in the final period to push past the Florida Panthers last night with a 4-1 win. UC Saros with a monster night, 39 saves for the Nashville goaltender. Preds still holding that final playoff spot in the Central, 4th place. Right now a 2-point advantage over the Stars, who beat the Hurricanes in overtime last night. Doing it again tonight, Preds hosting the Panthers in Bridgestone. It is a 7 p.m. puck drop. Tennessee linebacker Quavaris Crouch has announced his transfer destination, posting a picture on Twitter of himself in a Michigan State uniform with the caption, "Kicking it up north." Crouch was reportedly in attendance at the Michigan State spring game over the weekend. The Braves bounced back to outscore the Cubs last night 8-7. Game 2 of a 4-game slate tonight at 6:20. Breaking news at once and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
He's been the best Titans reporter in town, so of course we had to get ourselves some of that. It's Buck Reising on 104.5 The Zone.
You ready, Mace? Party people in the place to be. It's about that time for us to.
Yeah. Hello, party people. This is 104.5 The Zone. We appreciate you guys spending your time with us from 10 to 1. I am Buck Reising. This is my show. Lucas Panzica is here. He's making it all run smooth, and we have just, like the stray cats that have come into my home, one of them in heat, the other one banished to my girlfriend's apartment, so there's not a feline incestual situation going on in my living room when I get back. We have found a stray. He's wandered into the studio. It is Will Bowling of the brand new 104.5 The Zone Daily Podcast. What are we calling this podcast, Will? Hello. Good morning to you.
Hello. How are you?
I'm well.
It is The Zone Daily.
Okay.
It will launch tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
Exciting.
Right around the time you wake up. Yeah. It'll be right on your favorite podcast app, ready to download and listen.
Sure.
But yeah, it'll be good. It'll be every day. It'll be about 15 minutes. It is a car ride to or from work for you. If you decide to consume The Zone via podcast, it will get you to and from work.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
What's on tomorrow's episode?
Tomorrow we have Rhett Bryan, who is going to run through one name on offense, one name on defense that will make sense for the Titans at number 22. So that is coming up on episode number 1. We've got a good week of guests lined up. It's going to be good.
Okay. I'm offended that I wasn't asked to be a part of the inaugural rollout, but that's fine.
I know you're too busy with your cats to come on my podcast this week.
I'm busy with a lot of things, but the cats made my draft week a hell of a lot worse,
I'll be
honestly.
bothering you soon. Well, I'm always bothering you. That's
No. That's not true. Although it did give me great delight. I swear to God, Will. And by the way, we're going to get into the draft stuff. Mike Herndon of Broadway Sports, he's coming up here. He's coming up next, actually, and we're going to spend a lot of time on wide receivers, specifically from the slot. You'll hear from J-Rob on this matter momentarily. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about internet feuds and podcasting. So you have started a fight on the internet with this daily podcast.
Just merely by existing, I've started a fight. Yes.
Well, it was
kind of like when I watch the Braves in here and I just exist and it starts a fight between you and I.
No, your behavior starts a fight between you and I. That's a direct result. You have to understand that there are consequences for your actions, especially when it's just me in here in front of a microphone. I got 3 hours a day to do. But I swear to you, before we get into your podcast feud, I swear to you, I turned on at the perfect time between the Braves and the Cubs last night on ESPN. They had a 4-1 lead. I was like, look at the Braves. They're scoring. They're scoring runs. This is exciting. And then all of a sudden, a grand slam from Chris Bryant right as I turned it on. And I just thought to myself, sweet, sweet, sweet justice. I'm not even a Cubs fan.
How is
They
it
still
justice?
won. They still won the game.
No, I know, but that doesn't matter to me. I'm just looking for ways to – that's the only reason I watch the Braves is to troll Will Bowling on the internet.
It's not hard to troll me, though. You can find better ways to troll me than just the Braves.
Yeah, it turns out your daily podcast. So what's happening on the internet? What have you done?
I launched a podcast, and a podcast I have not listened to apparently follows a similar format.
Yeah. No, our buddy Braden Gall. I think he's going to be on the show, by the way. I don't think I've told Lucas this. Wednesday, Braden Gall is going to be on, so we'll discuss the podcast feud that is resulting, because we haven't talked about college football playoff expansion at all this week. Which tells you what kind of a monster the NFL draft is. But yeah, so this is fine because Braden is a friend. You are a friend, and we are in a friendly situation. Braden fills in on the zone, so this is nothing that I think is off limits. But it is funny to me, the idea that at some point, just because we just had Ben Fischer on from Sports Business Journal, and we're talking about the idea that one team has now gotten their draft set up sponsored, the Rams, and now the Eagles are doing it. And now that two teams have done it, well, it becomes obvious that every other team should do it because the best business decisions are always the most obvious. So Braden also has a daily podcast that he does. And now, because it is conflicting with his own property, we will not plug that podcast anymore. Sorry, bud. Even though I'm on that podcast today, turns out. Tough. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, tough scene. No, I'm teasing. 440 Sports. But so Braden's been doing this daily podcast. And so now, just because Braden has done a daily podcast, which is a great idea, we have one now too. And somehow, just because somebody else has taken a good idea and run with it, this is means to start an internet war? I don't understand.
I mean, I went back in my computer yesterday and I wrote this proposal on December 11th, 2019, which was pre-job change and pre-furlough for me last year, which kind of kept me from doing this. But I also am in a new full-time role at 104.5 The Zone, where I have the hours to do things I've always wanted to do. Thank you, 104.5 The Zone, for allowing me to do these things. And
by the way, are you live tweeting my show right now?
Am I live tweeting your show?
Isn't that what's supposed to be happening? Aren't you supposed to be live tweeting the stream? Yes, I think that's part of your digital whatever the hell manifesto. Are you doing your job right now?
I do when I can.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I do when I can.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Look, Buck,
if I walked in here and turned on the microphone and said, for the next 3 hours, I'm going to do what I can.
This is wild. This is wild for you to comprehend, but there are other shows and other things that I have to do besides promote your show on 104.5 The Zone. I know that is hard for you to understand.
It's sure as hell hard for me to understand. Why the hell wouldn't I think that way? By the way, Smashville's Finest has just tweeted in, does Buck Reising ever talk about the Preds? I've tuned into his show almost daily the last 2 weeks, and I've never heard him talk once about the team. I'm all for NFL draft talk because I love the NFL draft. But sometimes you have to talk about the other team in Nash. Lucas, what did we do this morning? How did we start the show?
We did our Preds update right off the top.
Shut the hell up, Smashville's Finest. Just because you don't listen to the whole 3 hours doesn't mean we haven't discussed it? These people. I do mean these people.
Why don't you talk about the Preds more, guy, as one of my least favorite guys in Nashville? That being said, the Zone Daily will have lots of Preds talk.
Look at that.
Because that's one of the visions for this podcast is I am going to talk about things that perhaps other hosts don't have the time to talk about during draft season. I'm going to go deeper into the Nashville Predators because I have a platform to do these things.
Just so irritating. We literally made it a point to put the Preds into the show today. The Panzika Preds update. It's a bit on the show. In fact, we should be doing something more with the Panzika Preds update. But it's literally how we started. We even had John Hines audio prepared today, and then we got into talk about my cat being in heat, and then that we kind of got away from the audio. But I does not distract from the point that just stop nagging. God, this is why Preds social media. Preds social media, the absolute worst.
Just unfollow them.
I don't follow these people. They're tweeting at me. What do you want from me?
No, don't follow the Preds.
Oh, no. I care about the team.
Follow enough writers who cover it, you're going to know about the team, even if you don't follow the Preds on Twitter.
No, that's fair enough, but I have no active rooting interest against the Preds. I just hate their damn Twitter account.
I mean, then unfollow them. This is a you problem at this point. That's what I did. I just unfollowed them.
What did you just say into my ear?
I said it's a you problem.
No, not you.
Oh.
You. What did you just say to me?
No, I didn't say anything.
What are you eating right now?
I'm eating here.
What are you eating right now?
I went to the vending machine. There's a Snickers bar just sitting there. Somebody bought a Snickers bar and then walked away, and it dropped in, and now I'm eating it.
You mean to tell me...
Oh, right. It was your Snickers bar.
That the Snickers, the vending machine, froze up on me, and you took advantage of my misfortune. I had to eat an apple. You're eating the Snickers bar on air right now.
It's good. It's nutty. A lot of protein.
Safe to say Lucas is satisfied. And you are not.
You're not you when you're hungry. I hate you so damn much. You got to be kidding me.
You walk in, it's like, oh, Snickers bar.
I
love how quickly you switch gears on this show, by the way.
What are you
going from roasting me to what are you eating?
All it took was some patience, Buck.
What patience do I have? I'm literally a one-man show. You want me to wait? You want me to wait out the wait in the break room The break room that has coffee that's been melted to the bottom of the coffee pot for 6.5 hours
Coffee
at
that
this
I'm
point.
drinking with this delicious
That's jet
Snickers
fuel.
bar.
It's just
It's
so
not coffee, it's jet fuel.
It's so disrespectful.
It's awful.
No, I'm not even talking about the coffee. I'm talking about he's eating my Snickers bar on air.
They're both disrespectful.
Did you at least save me a half?
You can have this last bite.
I wish I could hear
of
Lucas
Snickers.
and what he's saying if there were functioning headphones in the studio. But that's the problem here.
All right.
I'm not just being rude and interrupting. I legitimately just don't have any headphones in here.
You can't hear what Lucas is saying. All right, all of these in the suggestion box. We'll talk about the slot receiver with the slot receiver position with Mike Herndon of Broadway Sports. Mike Miracles will join us up next as we continue the draft conversation, as my stomach continues to rumble because Lucas is eating my Snickers bar, and I had these mini mutated apples that are sitting there in a bag.
I'm just going to finish it.
Words cannot describe how angry I am at you right now. I've had a hard enough week, okay? I've got a cat howling at 3:30 in the morning because she's, going through what my girlfriend calls her moon cycle, whatever the hell that means. People are suggesting that I need to have diapers attached to my cats. God knows what I'm going to walk in to when I get home. Anyway, 104.5 The Zone's draft coverage is sponsored by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage at an affordable price? Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They've been protecting Tennesseans since 1947. The draft talk continues with Mike Miracles coming up next.
Come on, you know you want to listen to Blaine and Mickey. Come on. Blaine and Mickey, this afternoon, 1 to 3 on 104.5 The Zone.
Baseball players may not get style points for home runs, but baseball bettors do. Hey, everyone, it's Lucas Panzica from the Buck Reising Show. New BetMGM customers can turn $1 into $100 when someone goes yard during a game. Sign up for the BetMGM app using Lucas100, and if you place a $1 moneyline wager on the Braves or Cubs, you'll get $100 if either team hits a home run. And after the baseball is left the park, there's no reason to leave your seat. Discover BetMGM's innovative parlay selection builders, daily promotions, boosted odds specials, and more. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use bonus code LUCAS100 to win $100 when you bet on the Braves or Cubs and either team hits a home run. Swing for the fences with BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. New customer offer, paid in free bets, must be 21 years or older and must be in Tennessee to bet. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Spring is finally here. Now's the time to hit those trails and sidewalks you've been missing in a fresh pair of perfectly fit New Balance running or walking shoes from the New Balance Nashville store. Our trained fit specialists get as much information as possible before matching you with the perfect pair of New Balance shoes. We've also got all the apparel and other gear you need for spring, too. There's no better time to get outside than right now. So come over to the New Balance Nashville store and get your custom-fit New Balance footwear and spring apparel today.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Nasal irrigation gets rid of germs by rinsing the nasal cavity, but neti pots are hard to use and, frankly, kind of gross. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. Millions use Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now it's time to start cleaning your nose with Navage. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Being a mom is one of the toughest jobs around during a normal year. And this past year was anything but normal. So this Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invite you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making more sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family, especially after a year like we've just had. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
What could you do with an extra 30 or 40 or 50 grand right now? Pay off your credit cards? Maybe do that home improvement project? Maybe it's time for a Loan Pronto cash out refi. Hey, it's Dawn Davenport. Listen, your home's value is way up, a record high. You can do a fast, easy refi with Loan Pronto and get cash out now. Rates are still low, and with Loan Pronto, they can cover all of your closing costs. Think about it. You get a lower rate with no closing costs, and they hand you a check for $40,000 or $50,000, maybe even more. And you get to skip your next 2 house payments in the process. Go to loanpronto.com now. If you have over $5,000 in credit card debt, you need to consider this. You can consolidate your debt into one payment and save hundreds or even thousands per month. Call now. Ask about Loan Pronto's zero-cost cash out refi. Loanpronto.com, 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, not available on all loans.
Bad internet is bad for business. We've all been there. Lagging video chats, slow downloads. Oh, come on. It's just not a good look. Instead, call C Spire Business. Our local experts deliver gigabit speeds backed by thousands of miles of fiber for the fastest, most reliable internet around. Period. No excuses, no apologies. Just fiber-fast internet that works. C Spire Business. See how our fiber solutions can help power your success at cspirebusiness.com.
This hour brought to you by 1 Hour Heating and Air Nashville.
Okay, Lucas. A little bit of James Brown. We appreciate that here on 104.5 The Zone. Buck Reising here with you until 1 o'clock. One of my favorites, one of your favorites, in fact, Mike Miracles, Mike Herndon of Broadway Sports Media, at Mike Miracles on the socials is where you follow him. It is draft week. Michael's opinions on the draft are always exceptional. He has a write-up right now on 10 things that he thinks about this draft heading into the Titans draft. Thursday, we assume. They will be picking 22nd overall that you can check out right now at Broadway Sports. Hello, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Buck?
I'm well. I thought I was speaking with Tom Herman, the head coach. Well, no longer your head coach. What happened?
No.
I completely forgot. That's right.
He's like some random assistant for the Bears now.
That's yeah. Like that isn't. Speaking of the Bears, Jim Nagy or not Jim Nagy. What's the other Nagy? What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. He's on my Matt Nagy is on my television screen right now. Just all things bad go to worse places. So, of course, Tom Herman would go from Texas, where I know you suffer greatly as a fan of the University of Texas, to the Chicago Bears. Unfortunate. Anyway,
yeah.
Draft week. Are you enjoying? Have you enjoyed this pre-draft ramp up? It feels different than years past. I think the thing that has frustrated me is all of the misinformation, for lack of a better term, around the quarterback specifically, because that's the only thing that anybody seems to want to talk about for television purposes. But how have you kind of consumed this pre-draft process?
You know, I honestly, I was enjoying it up until the 49ers made that trade. And then ever since then, that's all anyone has talked about is, you know, and it's turned into this whole thing about Justin Fields versus Mac Jones, and people are very divided on this whole thing, and 49ers fans are threatening to boycott if they pick Mac Jones, which is amazing.
Is that a real thing? I hadn't seen that yet.
It is. Apparently there's like an organized 49ers group that is trying to boycott going to games if they take Mac Jones.
Respect.
So there's all kinds of fun stuff, but that is actually fun. The just constant, you know, Mac Jones versus Justin Fields. I can't hear any more about that. And I also can't look at any more mock drafts. I'm done with mock drafts. It always happens about like this time every year. So this isn't really a different thing for this year, but I just reached my threshold with mock drafts, and I just can't look at another one. I don't care who the simulation thinks might be there. We're too close. Let's just see what happens. I'm done with the guessing about who's going where. Like, let's just see what happens.
Oh, please, this mercifully let this be done so we can talk about actual players on actual teams, and then spend the next 4.5 months doing that before the season starts. That'll be fun.
Exactly.
So, speaking of boycotting games, what position group I don't come to you on behalf of all Titans fans because I know that you are much more nuanced than that. But you are very in touch with all things Titans Twitter. You are a product of the same sewers that I am on the internet, so you understand these people probably more so than I do because I'm still 5 years in, fairly new to all things Titans Twitter. But if you were to pick a position that the Titans would draft in the first round that would cause people to boycott games, what would it be?
God, it's a toss-up to me between defensive line and offensive line.
Really? Okay.
I think it's probably offensive line just because everyone, obviously the Isaiah Wilson thing happened last year, and people, for some reason, are just like, well, we can't do it twice in a row. Well, the need is still there because Isaiah Wilson didn't work out. So, exactly. What was a hole last year is still a hole. They still need to fill it. Kendall Lamb is fine. I mean, if he's your starter, okay, but he's not going to be your long-term guy there. Their offensive line is aging in general. You need some young guys in there that you can build around while you're going to have to probably retool the left side here in, 2 to 3 years. So I think it's, there's a lot of leftover anxiety from the Isaiah Wilson thing that I think people are falsely putting on this tackle class, which Tevin Jenkins or whoever the Titans might be looking at there at 22 is not Isaiah Wilson. And we don't need to hold Isaiah Wilson's sins against Tevin Jenkins by any means. So I think it's probably offensive line or maybe defensive line because, the people don't love Christian Barmore. The people don't love Levi Onwuzurike. It's kind of, those picks. People want a flashy guy this year. They want a wide receiver. They want a corner.
Well, you speaking as the voice of the people, you don't want Christian Barmore. I saw your tweets.
I don't.
At Mike Miracles on Twitter is where you can follow him. It said of the reports that came out in Bob McGuinn's article on The Athletic where essentially, and I'm paraphrasing here, he is resistant to coaching and structure, which is about as damning of analysis as you can have of a player who's coming in to a job as an NFL player. With what are your reservations? Because if we're not going to hold the sins of Isaiah Wilson over draft picks, and I'm not saying you're right, I'm not saying you're wrong, but for people who are looking for a little bit of a deeper explanation as to why, as you tweeted, J-Rob, please don't do this. Why should Jon Robinson not consider Christian Barmore in the first round?
Well, Buck, I was just set up to talk out of both sides of my mouth and completely hold the Isaiah Wilson sins against Barmore, but now you're not going to let me do that. So nope. I guess I'll have to provide more analysis. Barmore to me was already borderline, like, yes, super talented, but it only shows up in flashes. He's not consistent at all. He's a young guy, which, I guess you could argue that, well, he's young, consistency will come. Obviously the upside is there and that's all true. But when you see stuff like he's resistant to coaching and structure, that's kind of how the consistency gets there is coaching and structure and repeating the same thing every day and getting good at it, honing your craft. And it doesn't strike me that Barmore is a guy that is real interested in honing his craft just based on the reports that are out there and what you read about him. So yes, Isaiah Wilson is not Christian Barmore, and no, I don't think he's going to have multiple, car incidents and be pursuing a rap career in a year.
Layup lines out now, by the way.
Right? Yeah. Get your copies. But I do think this is such an important draft for the Titans because if you look across the roster, there's just so many positions where they're just paper thin behind the starters. And if you're going to swing, I don't think you swing on another guy that's got character and coachability red flags. I think Jon Robinson would be taking his career in his hands by making a pick with Christian Barmore, because if he turns out to be anything like Isaiah Wilson and he busts, people are going to go, you didn't learn your lesson from 1 year ago in the exact same situation, made the exact same mistake again. And the pitchforks will really be out. I mean, not just the crazy pitchforks that the people get out, every time a team gets stopped on third down and it's fire everybody. Yeah. But the real pitchforks where like the fan base is fed up, that you can take a risk on maybe a different type of guy. But if you take a risk on the same guy and you come up empty again, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine the reaction from Titans fans if Barmore's the pick and he just busts out.
Mike Miracles of Broadway Sports is here with us on 104.5 The Zone. You can follow Big Mike at Mike Miracles on the socials. So with that being said, John is fighting against two things, I think, in this draft. John Robinson, talent disparity, that they clearly need to restock the roster in a way that I don't think they have needed to since he first got here and was having to basically clean up Rustin Webster's mess since 2017. I've said this several times on the show, but they haven't had a draft class bigger than 6 players since 2017, when they were still basically putting the pieces back together and then could afford a draft like 18 where there's only 4 selections. And you think with Rashaan Evans and Harold Landry, you're plugging obvious needs in a way to make a push because you think your team is close, if not there, as a contender. Now, not only is John fighting against what is going to have to be an above average to exceptional draft if he is going to satisfy all of the needs that they still have, but he's also fighting optics. Now, in any other world, in any other year, I would say optics don't matter. What the fans think, yes, I understand that's the reason that the NFL all NFL teams took nearly a $16 million haircut on their salary cap, is because we simply did not have fans. So I would not say don't pay attention to the fans. But in this particular situation, when it comes to draft, don't pay attention to the fans. But I think that John is in an unenviable position where he kind of has to focus on optics, because for what you've just laid out, because of how badly last year's first-round pick missed, it's not just about the talent. It's about making sure that it looks like, if nothing else, that he got it close to right in 2021.
Yeah, and I don't think you can afford another big time whiff at the top of the draft. And what you mentioned about the size of the draft classes is huge, because when you look across the roster and you're like, all right, well, you've got the starters; those look pretty good. But then as soon as you get off the starter line, you're like, oh, UDFA, career journeyman backup who is never going to be a starter. It's all stuff like that, and they don't have any. They almost have 0 guys now that are in the pipeline that can be starters in 2 to 3 years that you feel really good about. You know, the Amani Hooker transition at safety is what you want this to look like, right? You know, you've got Vaccaro, you've got Byard. Those guys are pretty good for a while. Vaccaro starts to get a little bit older and he's expensive. You move on to Hooker, who's already, ready to go. They don't have that at other positions, and that start to put a lot of pressure on you to find guys in free agency, which is expensive and just less than ideal. So that class, and I think a lot of that does go back to that class in 2018. And I think that's a perfect example of why, I think people who are saying that the Titans should trade up for anybody in this draft class are crazy, because this is what happened in 2018. You traded up for Rashaan Evans, and you traded up for Harold Landry. You basically gave up your whole draft for those 2 guys. You ended up with a 3-man draft class because Luke Falk was cut at the end of training camp. And Dane Cruikshank has been a nice special teams guy, but nothing more than that. So you got 2 guys out of that class, basically. The guys that if you just sat pat at 25 that year and not traded up to 22, the next 2 inside linebackers off the board that year after Rashaan Evans were Darius Leonard and Fred Warner, also known as the 2 all-pro selections at inside linebacker last season. Trading up, it implies some level of certainty on behalf of the team. And I understand, like, as a GM, you have to project certainty. You have to some degree feel certainty about your evaluations, because otherwise you're just, blindly throwing darts out there. But I think there's a little bit of hubris that comes in with these GMs saying, we know that Rashaan Evans is the guy, and he's so much better than these other guys at inside linebacker that I'm willing to give up other picks and other opportunities to add to my roster to make sure he's on our team. And that's when that stuff happens and it just doesn't work out, and it doesn't work out more often than not. That's how you end up with a roster that's just paper thin like the Titans have right now. And yeah, this is a draft where he's not only got a hit on picks, but he's got a hit on several picks. He's got to have, the 2019 class is probably the best case scenario, where he ended up with 4 guys that are going to be starters this year, and another guy who probably could be a starter in a couple years in David Long. That getting 5 starters out of a draft class is almost unheard of, but you almost need to find 4, which is very difficult to do out of this class. And that means you're gonna have to hit at a really high rate. And I think trading back and getting more swings at that makes a ton of sense for them, especially the way that this class is kind of built in that back half of the first round.
So to that end, talking a little bit about Rashaan Evans, that 2018 class where it was Vrabel's first year. We were shocked that Robinson, at least sitting in the draft room that year, that Robinson, as you said, mortgaged the entire draft for specifically those 2 players in Harold Landry and then Rashaan Evans in the first round. Just as recently as his rookie year, Mike, I was reading your now teammate John Glennon with Broadway Sports when Johnny was still at the Athletic. And it was honestly like the Twilight Zone to read this article from 2018, because it was talking about Bama boom or bust, how Rashaan Evans was clearly trending upwards and Derrick Henry was trending straight the hell down at the time when he was losing snaps to David Fluellen. So on that note, what is wrong with Rashaan Evans that we saw? I don't think he was appreciably worse in 2019 than he was in 18, but there was nothing on the field outside of a few goal line stops, which he is very, very adept at, that would say to me that Rashaan Evans is anywhere close to the same player, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, Rashaan Evans is an interesting case because he does make the splash plays every now and then. Like you mentioned on the goal line, he's pretty good. In short yardage situations, he's pretty good. But the problems with him, and they really go back to what he was at Alabama. He started off at Alabama as an edge rusher. That was what he did his first couple years there. Then they moved him to inside linebacker. And frankly, when he was an inside linebacker, while he made a lot of plays for them, and he was an incredible hitter, very physical inside linebacker. You could see some of the stuff for why teams liked him, but there was almost nothing on him as far as dropping back into coverage. On third downs, they were rushing him almost every play. They would bring him down and actually rush him off the edge quite a bit on third down. So they were not dropping him into coverage. With the Titans, he has been asked to drop into coverage a lot more, and that's something that just is a fact of life for inside linebackers in the NFL, because they're going to put you in that, RPO and play action run pass conflict all the time. And Evans has only been playing inside linebacker for a few years. He was an edge rusher in high school. He's an edge rusher his first couple of years at Bama. He doesn't have the reps processing that, run pass conflict, being able to recognize when, an offensive lineman is just faking a run block and actually just looking to pass protect. He doesn't have all that built-in knowledge. And I think that's come back to bite him at the NFL level, and it's exposed a lot of his weaknesses. And now you see a guy that's he's confused, it looks like, half the time as to what he's seeing. He's slow to react, and that paralyzes him and takes away. He's got all the physical gifts. Anything that you want him to do physically, he can do as an inside linebacker, but the processing, I don't think is there. And I think that exposes him in certain segments of the game.
So to that end, Mike Miracles of Broadway Sports here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Does that make you skeptical of a player, just for example, that's coming up in this draft that has limited reps at his position but appears to be a freakish athlete, like Caleb Farley? Medicals aside, Caleb Farley, the corner, who it could potentially fall down the draft board to where the Titans are picking, whether they go up and get him if he makes it to the late teens, if he's there at 22, remains to be seen. But should that put a little skepticism into people who are looking at Caleb Farley like he's the solution at corner, when I think that situation very, very much mirrors what you're describing with Rashaan Evans?
Yeah, and I think that's, obviously he made the transition from quarterback, in high school, and then played wide receiver initially at Virginia Tech before finally converting to corner. And so, yeah, that background, he's only played corner really for, I guess, one full season,
right?
At the college level, and then he's had injury issues and stuff like that. I will say this for him, the medicals aside, if you're just looking at the talent of the player and the tape and everything else like that with him, like, unbelievably gifted. The speed, the length, the size, the feet, the way he's able to match and mirror wide receivers coming in and out of breaks for a guy that's 6'2" is ridiculous. So if I was picking based on just talent alone, I would have him as a top 10 guy all day long. No questions asked. The question becomes, I think what you mentioned, his lack of experience at the position, he's not a very good tackler. And it's because he's almost never really tackled.
Right.
He's not experienced in that part of the game. Now, can you live with that for a corner, that's going to play on the outside a little bit? Maybe. But a team like the Colts, that's going to run the ball a lot in 2021 and is your biggest division rival, those teams are going to find out about Caleb Farley and whether or not he can tackle pretty early in a game. And if he becomes a huge liability out there on the edge in run defense, that's going to become a problem for him. So I do think that's the angle of the game that I think I have more questions about with him. I almost think that his experience as a quarterback and as a wide receiver helps him a little bit, though, as a corner, because I think he can kind of see the game through the eyes of his opponents to some degree and kind of anticipate routes and route combinations a little bit better because he's been on the other side of that and worked through it as a quarterback, worked through it as a wide receiver. So I kind of think mentally it may help him, but physically from a tackling standpoint, I don't think he's all the way there.
Mike Miracles is here with us of Broadway Sports. He also is one of the 3 hosts of the Football and Other F Words podcast. New episodes every Wednesday now, Mike. You guys adjust your recording schedule? Or because I've noticed them coming out on Wednesday recently.
We were just late because we all have stuff going on. So we were late last week, but it is usually Tuesday mornings. We get them out. There's a fresh one up right now in your podcast inbox of choice.
Go subscribe, rate, and review to the Football and Other F Words podcast, where you can get even more insights and also Zebo and Lebowski being idiots wherever it is that you get your favorite podcast. Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, boys.
All right, when we come back, there are polls to be updated. Lucas Panzica, it is his job to update the polls. I'm Buck Reising, and this is 104.5 The Zone.
From the NFL Draft to the Titans' first game and everything in between, we got you, Titans fan. Download the 104.5 The Zone app. Take us everywhere you go, because our season never ends. 104.5 The Zone.
If you're over dealing with hair loss, but think now's not the time to do something about it, you couldn't be more wrong. Hey, it's Mickey Ryan. Now is the time to face it head on, and Michael Ramsey with PAI Medical is ready to serve you. Not only is PAI on the cutting edge with the latest technology, but they have awesome financing options, making it affordable for everyone. Have your procedure and recover while you're working from home. Call 615-376-6010 to get Michael's expert opinion. At PAI, all we do is hair, and we are the very best at it. Visit WeGrowHair.com today.
Hey, it's Buck Reising, and around draft time, we always focus on the word team. Whether you're a sports franchise or a local business, your team is what ultimately determines your success. And Two Rivers Ford has a great team. I know because I'm a part of it. Two Rivers has been locally owned since 1983, and their playbook includes fair, honest pricing, a pledge to treat every customer like family, and salespeople that don't work on commission. So if you're in the market for a vehicle, go see the best team in town, the non-commissioned sales team at Two Rivers Ford.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-333-1750. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-333-1750. That's 800-333-1750. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-333-1750. 800-333-1750.
Man, how can you afford gas for that big SUV? I pay less for gas than everyone else. I got the free Get Upside Gas app and get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas. Hold on. You're getting up to 25 cents off a gallon with the free Get Upside gas app while I'm paying full price?
You know it. People earned over $1 million last year. You just got to take a picture of your gas receipt and bam, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back.
You don't have to tell me twice. I'm downloading the free Get Upside gas app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code POWER for a 25 cent a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next tank. Just download the free Get Upside app at the App Store or Google Play and use promo code POWER. Save money on gas on every fill-up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code POWER. That's POWER. Visit GetUpside.com for terms.
Veterans who refinance their VA loan with Loan Pronto are shocked at how great the rates are and how much equity they have in their homes. Hey, it's Dawn Davenport here from 3HL. Did you know that with a VA loan, you can take out as much as 90% of your home's value? That means you can get $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 cash out of that. Use that money to pay off credit cards, consolidate other loans, or start that home improvement project you really want to do. Even if you refinanced last year, you can do it again, and you can take advantage of your home's rise in value. Or even if you don't need cash out, you should call Loan Pronto. You should ask about their VA Streamline loans that require no income documentation, no appraisal, and no cash due at closing. And yes, you can still get VA loans in the twos. Call Loan Pronto now at 615-499-5780. Visit them, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, not all loans eligible.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with ED? Well, I have great news. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy, clinically shown to open up and regrow blood vessels. We're finally treating the root cause problem of ED. No pills, no injections, and no surgery. Even Cambridge tested our technology and showed that it is highly effective. If you're struggling with ED and sick of the pills, call us right now for an unprecedented offer. We'll give you the initial medical assessment, exam, even the blood flow ultrasound, totally free. We'll also include a special gift proven to produce instant results in the bedroom. This is a $500 value, but it's totally free to those that call us in the next 2 minutes. Put a stop to your ED and get the intimacy back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now to qualify for this offer. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Hillside Medical Clinic. 615-576-5000.
Money trees, they start to grow this time of year, especially around the NFL draft, the NFL draft prospects. Everybody getting a piece. Buck Reising here with you for 15 more minutes. Till Blaine and Mickey take over on 104.5 The Zone. By the way, tomorrow we will be doing something really cool, a radiothon of sorts with the home loan expert, Ryan Kelly. It's a part of the Keep Climbing Foundation, or it's with donations going towards the Keep Climbing Foundation, a newly formed nonprofit dedicated to helping others overcome obstacles to realize their personal summits by raising financial support and awareness for a variety of causes, including childhood empowerment, veteran support, assistance for first responders and frontline workers, urgent community needs. Very cool. So that'll be a part of what we're doing tomorrow with Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert, to benefit Monroe Carroll Junior Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt and fight DMD. Very good causes. We're happy to be a part of it tomorrow on 104.5 The Zone. We'll get to the polls in a second. In the meantime, I'm not sure. I had some people upset with me, Lucas, because I was talking about, and perhaps this is on me. Perhaps I phrased it poorly. It's entirely possible. But we are going to be live for the NFL draft, day one. We'll be live both days, Thursday and Friday of the NFL draft on 104.5 The Zone. But Thursday, we're going to be at Tin Roof, Demumbrian, one of my favorite places in Nashville. The first place that I got absolutely wasted in when I came to Nashville. It's home for me. It makes me feel like I've made it a little bit to be able to do a live radio show from Tin Roof on Demumbrian. And by the way, we hope you guys will join us. We'll be broadcasting there from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I'll start it off, and I hope that you come join me. Will Compton will be there. Austin Stanley and Zach Bingham from A to Z Sports will be there. Perhaps I think even Braden Gall, who's in a podcast feud with 104.5 The Zone right now, which is pretty funny, he'll be there. But I was talking about, I'm going to sneak a pipe bomb in because pipe bombs are the beverage of choice at Tin Roof on Demumbrey. Now, what people don't know, and perhaps I phrased this poorly, because to say I was sneaking a pipe bomb in to Tin Roof Demumbrey, and it's not what I tried to, it's not what I wanted to say. I was merely stating that I would like to, if I can, like I said, maybe our bosses aren't listening, but maybe in the final segment, maybe do said pipe bomb, which is a Red Bull and vodka that you shotgun out of a can of Red Bull. And people are very upset with me because I thought I was making pipe bomb jokes.
No, not a literal pipe bomb.
Yeah, so that's what's going on in my Twitter mentions right now. I mean, can you believe? I mean, I guess I can believe that. And also, given the fact that I'm of Middle Eastern descent, people are probably assigning that unfairly to me. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm trying to figure out making that connection, hearing pipe bombs at Tin Roof. Buck, you can't take a pipe bomb in a Tin Roof.
I mean,
what are you saying?
The tweet, let me read the tweet to be specific. It just says, Stan Morrison Jr. And, again, maybe it's on me. Maybe the phrasing was poor. But Stan says, pipe bomb humor? Really? No, I just want to get drunk. That's all I want to do. I just want to be able to have fun at Tin Roof Demumbrey and maybe do a pipe bomb with Will Compton. Not a real one, just the one that comes in a Red Bull can. God. Unbelievable. All right, what do we have for polls?
Does Christian Barmore, nope, flip that. Does Isaiah Wilson give you any hesitancy about Christian Barmore? 64% of over 400 votes say yes, 36% say no.
In any other year, I would probably chastise people, but they have if you think, and again, I don't know what their evaluation, the Titans' evaluation of Christian Barmore is. If you think there's anything there that would be even potentially problematic, understanding that he could at some point mature based on what Bob McGinn is reporting from scouts who say he's resistant to coaching and structure at Alabama. If you think that there's even the potential for a slip-up with this guy, I don't think that you can do it. I think that you have to play it safe in this draft, which I hate. I hate the words play it safe.
Well, but I feel like this whole time you've said don't color Isaiah Wilson with any draft decisions. But now you're saying you don't do it if there is any semblance of resistant to coaching change, character concerns, which, by the way, have not come out on Barmore until Bob McGinn's report a couple days ago.
Well, and Rhett Bryan of Titans Radio, who has been doing a great job, by the way, weekly or daily, I think, daily OTPs, official Titans podcasts, featuring Rhett Bryan, Dave McGinnis, Mike Keith, and Amy Wells are out now, and they will have a mock draft episode on Thursday. But I do think that I said, in talking about Christian Barmore, because that's how we started the show, I do think that I said, now, I don't know what their draft board looks like. I don't know what their analysis of Christian Barmore is. And what I'm saying, if he's a talented player and you think you can handle him, okay. But if you have any slight hesitancy about this player, I think that the need to have a sound contributing draft class, even if Christian Barmore goes on to be, Albert Hainsworth, even if Christian Barmore goes on to have a hugely successful career, if you end up with a solid starter, we just talked to Mike Miracles. If you missed any of the podcast, Buck Reising on 104.5 The Zone, go check it out. We had a fun show. But what Mike's saying is absolutely so. You need probably about 4 starters out of this draft class. And even if they're just solid players, maybe not great, but good players for the next 4 or 5 years, if they make it to a second contract, maybe 6 or 7, I think you got to be careful.
Jacob says, I'd take a punter over Barmore after that report. Give me literally any value. I don't care. Evan says, Isaiah Wilson gave me hesitancy about everything. # draft PTSD.
A lot of people saying that.
What percentage of draft reports do you trust? Puka says none totally. Bud Dupree Stan account says 100%. The last mock I read is exactly how I expect the draft to fall. Swaggy P. Knuckles says only yours, Buck.
Yep. 0.01% of draft reports. And even then, I'm looking at those things skeptically. There's so much crap out there. And there's so many different resources that have a motive by getting that information out there. I don't like messing with it.
Can the Titans justify drafting a slot receiver in the first round? Well over 500 votes, 63% say yes.
there's been a little bit of a, I don't think, maybe in years past, there was a preconceived notion about the slot receiver being a less valuable receiver than your standard starting outside wide receiver. And I just don't think that's so anymore. In fact, we're going to talk, we didn't get to that today. We're going to spend a lot of time on that tomorrow, because what is on today's 615 Sessions podcast, I'm getting all the plugs in here today. Today's 615 Sessions podcast, my podcast that you can go seek out, it comes out every Tuesday, is with Teron Davenport. Teron, obviously of ESPN, he specializes in wide receivers specifically. And we had a very good conversation about this. So go check out today's 615 Sessions. You'll hear some of that tomorrow because we'll play it on the show.
Do you know what to do with a cat in heat? 79% say no.
Yeah, well, I'm going to find out real quick when I get home. God help me.
And I believe that's it.
Those are the polls.
Those are the polls.
Very good. Rapid fire polls, and the content of this show is not quite done because I will not be participating in the Nashville Soccer Show this evening, but Lucas will be. Lucas, what is coming up on tonight's Nashville Soccer Show?
9 to 10 with Will Bowling and Davey Shepard talking Nashville Soccer Club's draw against Montreal, the upcoming match against Miami, and a little Champions League talk right here on 104.5 The Zone.
There is your footy update, Buckethead, who tweets us incessantly about needing more soccer coverage. We do it all around here on 104.5 The Zone. Just don't ask me to do it all. Blaine and Mickey can do it all. They're coming up next.
Titans Nation, the fandom that powers a city, Nashville.
He is the baddest man in the NFL.
There's only one place to find everything Titans football. 104.5